to me first. I'm in the middle of a match. Don't do that to me.
Okay, we are live with Bullshit Busters, the ridiculous double standards in the video game industry edition. Plus, we'll also be doing a questionathon at the end of this. So, yeah, look forward to that. So, I guess we should start with people introducing themselves.
Oh my god.
My name's RJ. Can't wait for this podcast to start.
I'm Triple M, the lone wolf in fondness for games that pops out of my artworks, and sometimes I just have to wonder. It's just things just keep popping up that you just can't keep your mouth shut.
Okay, Mario TGP is unable to answer, but he's here. Oh, he's gonna go. Go, Mario, go. Or not. Okay, KHNMAG, go.
KHNMAG here. Remember, keep calm, game on.
Okay, Dr. Feelgood.
Hey, what's up, guys? You know who it is? The guy with the smooth moves and nice tunes. I was in a Splatoon mood. Anyway, you heard me once we went live. I was, being sabotaged by a person on my team in Splatoon that was going around not painting the damn thing. But continue on, guys.
Yeah, I feel your pain. So
no, like seriously, I watched them move across the map and not paint a single damn thing.
I've seen that happen. I know exactly. I feel your pain, really. I feel your pain. So I guess it's time for me to introduce myself. It's me, Mr. Red Fox, and as you all know, I'm crazy as a fox, and as old man Steve Austin Stone Cold Steve Austin will tell you, and that's the bottom line. So I know that's my terrible Stone Cold Steve Austin. I can do Macho Man Randy Savage and Ric Flair much better. Woo! That's right. So here we go. It's been a while. Our last two episodes on this same time slot were us talking about Daredevil. Apparently that wasn't very popular, so back by popular demand is BS Busters. And so we're going to be talking about the main topic is going to be the ridiculous double standards in gaming. But before and getting to questions in the Questionathon, which you can get to by clicking on the Q&A app in the lower left-hand corner if you're on YouTube, or in the Q&A app if you're on Google Plus. So leave your questions. We'll try to get to all of them. But we also we'll be doing free topics first, then the main topic, and then getting to questions after that. So, without further ado, our first free topic will be introduced by KHNMAG, who gave us a wonderful article in the chat, in the event description that I can't link right now, but it was really awesome. So you guys should definitely hear about this topic that he will bring to the table now.
All right. Title: Am I becoming the crossover gamer that isn't interested in new games anymore? In short, it pretty much says about why the author hasn't bought an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4 yet, and the reason why he's not really into new gaming is because of all the ridiculousness, like large install, the firmware updates, unfinished broken games day one, that's so on and so forth. And it dawned on me because I think of the same way. Like during the Xbox 360, PS3, and Wii era, when E3 was around, or I hear of a new game that I might like, I was like, oh, awesome, new game coming out, and I'd be like, woo, new game. But now it's like, I don't care about that game.
Well, we've just been lied to. We've been lied to the last couple of years about what games are and what they're gonna be. Like, we're at the point where now it's like a Burger King commercial. You know how they show the cheeseburger and it looks so amazing, and when you buy it, it looks like an elephant stepped on it. That's gaming.
Someone actually made a YouTube video about that as well.
Wow. It's pretty much the analogy I can think of is I see people complain about, oh, yay, another Call of Duty or something, or in terms of music, it's like, oh, another song by whoever's popular now, I don't know. Or how, oh, great, another reality TV show coming. These people complain about it, but they don't do anything about it, and they continue to support the corruption. Take for like they don't know what's real anymore. They just follow what's popular and they just go with the flow.
Well, I'm kind of, I don't know, not in complete agreement with the whole video game addiction, but for a lot of people, gaming is a drug. I remember watching a video by King Grimpakshi, and it talks about how video games are basically a drug. You know, we say, "Oh, I'm not gonna get the new Call of Duty game. I'm not gonna get it." And then next thing we know, all our friends are getting it. Now we have to get it. Or, "Oh, I'm not gonna get this game. This game looks terrible," and the game sells 3 million copies. So, and those who said they weren't going to get that game are going to get it. How many people are going to say, "Oh, I'm not going to get Watch Dogs 2 because of Watch Dogs 1"? How many people are going to say that and then turn around and get the game?
It's going to happen because I actually have friends that's like that. He's like, oh, I'm so sick of Call of Duty, and they go ahead and buy day one, buy all the DLC, everything. And I wish I was joking. But back to the topic, I was just saying, like I play a lot of SNES, Sega Genesis, and PlayStation 2. They're like they're in my top five as like best consoles of all time, and they had limitations. And there was a video about is graphics too far, and I think one of the quotes was I think it was like success comes with adversity. So when you think of success comes with adversity, you think of the hardware limitations that these consoles back then had, and they brought us some of the best games we had, like Super Metroid or Sonic 2 or what's that other game? I can't think of it now. It's on PS2. Let's take for example San Andreas, because I still think that's the best one. You know, I'm sorry, 5, it's good, but San Andreas is still the best one. During those three consoles, like I said, limitations is what pretty much brought all the heart and soul the developers had, and we still play those games to this day. Now, something nowadays, like let's take a fighting game, Mortal Kombat X. Of all the paywalls and whatnot, do you think we actually going to think about that game like 10, 15 years down the road? No, because it's a trend. It's you know it's too much paywalls and all that nonsense. It's not defined as classic anymore.
Yeah. I mean, with me, okay, I'm the type of person that's on a freaking budget. But over the last 5 years, actually since last generation, I used to have this anticipation of I might get the 360. No, I might get the PS3. I probably might get the 360. As as the years went by in that generation, I've seen effed up things that's happening on those consoles, and it's making me wavering from the idea of even acquiring those consoles. This generation, that it was like an ultimatum point with me. It's like the again the effed up stuff keeps hitting your
Yes,
face.
go
I'm
ahead,
like,
you bitches. Oh, sorry.
right, but actually that's how I feel right now. I'm like,
it's just
20. Yeah,
it's just so dry. Like I'm just not excited with the new stuff anymore. It's just I guess I think it has a lot of it to do with the way games were designed and developed last generation. Because last generation we saw just an insane amount of Western third party games that was the following: realistic graphics, blood and gore, guns, pretty much anything that's close to sexually explicit, and swearing. Those five has pretty much played the majority of games from last generation. And so we've seen that done for over almost 10 years now. So when I see that stuff in this new generation, it's like, oh, there's more of this stuff. It's like, you know, I get, I want to say aside from Nintendo Indies, there's really hardly anything left that I can enjoy. But I better not say it too much. I might be considered a Nintendo fanboy, despite that I do have Sony consoles, Sega consoles, and a PC. All right.
You know,
Anybody want to tackle this topic?
speaking about indies, I have something to say, but anyone else wants to tackle this topic?
RJ, Dr. Feelgood.
The topic is old man, grumpy old gamer.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the reasons I've been thinking about getting a NVIDIA Shield console as a emulator machine and just playing old games for a while, because it's not looking too good here. The future's not looking too bright.
Yeah. you know I'm
Normally-
how to attack you there because I'm a purist. I like my original hardware.
Yeah. I mean, the
I
thing
get
is,
that, but that gets really expensive.
It does.
that's the thing. It is really expensive, and there is yet for there to be a really good, I mean, there is a console that came out in Japan that's really good for retro people, but I mean, who knows when that'll be localized?
Yeah. RJ, you should get the Retron 5.
No, don't get the Retron 5. Don't.
It's tempting. It's tempting, but nah.
No. The Retron 5. I mean, there are other. The NVIDIA Shield is about the best you can do because it's portable. You can play a lot of older games on it. I think in the newest one actually has streaming, so you can set it up so that it streams from your PC around your house. So you can get that. So I mean, the power is someplace else and streaming to your PC, but you might need a really good internet connection for that to work.
Oh yeah, you do. I've tried Steam home streaming. It's so choppy because my internet's not good enough for it. So yeah.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying, Mario TGP, but I already know. My friend has a Retron 5, and it basically destroyed one of his cartridges. And thank God it wasn't one of his really good ones, but it destroyed one of his SNES cartridges.
Oh, boy.
And needless to say, he was, I believe the word is pissed.
Yeah, I would cry if that happened to Chrono Trigger because you know that copy of that game is like $110 now.
Yeah, who in this day and age would know how to fix a cartridge?
Well, I mean, cartridges are retro technology because no one's really making cartridges anymore. Although technically speaking, you could say the Game Boy, the 3DS and DS cartridges are still cartridge technology. But generally speaking, no one's really making cartridges anymore. Even though, in my opinion, they were like some of the best technology ever.
That was like now it would be probably looked at as an archaic flash drive.
Yeah, basically,
No,
the general idea behind flash drives and cartridges and memory and those SD memory cards is all basically the same. It's the same idea behind all of it. So.
Oh, I think I'm gonna change my free topic to because you bring up the since you brought up the cartridges to Nintendo possibly using cartridges in the future again.
Okay. All right. Ken was gonna say something real quick. What? What were you gonna say, Ken?
Touch on the whole, what was it called, old guy gamer or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Of course, I've been gaming since '85, '86, basically, about 30 years. But I can honestly say I do agree with what he said earlier. Like, and I'm pretty sure you guys have all seen a little meme that went around on Google Plus a couple months back, where it had a picture of all the current heroes in gaming today, which is like 100% like white male middle-aged protagonist A with a 5 o'clock shadow,
Yep.
and then you look at all the old heroes, it's like Toe Jam and Earl, Sonic, Mario. None of them are even remotely realistic or could even be realistic. And thinking about that now, it's like I miss the fakeness in gaming.
Me
It's like
too.
the last 2 generations we've been so much about being, capturing realism, be as real to life, at least in appearance, and sometimes even in gameplay as possible. But yet you can get shot in the face 2 times and that person still knife you. I mean, you can't. That's just stupid to me. You can't go for realism, then also put in arcade play. Sometimes it's fun. I admit I bought more than a few CODs, but
Like,
I miss the complete fakeness of gaming. Like for example, who all remembers EA Big when EA used to be a gaming company that you look forward to a release?
Yep. I still got NBA
Right,
Street. I
man.
got NBA
Okay, okay.
Street 2 on
Now let me
PS2.
say this. I am going to release a video about the Need for Speed Underground teaser because I still have Underground 1 and 2 and the case, original instructions, and I went through the game 3 times. So, thinking about that game, completely arcade, great upgrades, whatever, but that game was great. And one of the biggest examples of just complete fakeness I can think of was SSX Tricky.
Oh yes, that's another
That
good
shit
game.
is not possible in any realm today. I don't even think superheroes could pull that kind of shit off.
Nope.
That's
Like, I
stylish.
mean, I
Speaking
mean,
of a SSX Treaty was a snowboarding game, right? If I
yeah,
remember
and,
correctly.
and, and thinking
Yeah.
about it, it's like one of the main characters on the cover of Tricky was a white guy with the fro,
Yep.
and he did the worm. His special move was doing the worm on the snowboard while being 30, 40, 50 feet up in the air.
Well, that's how gaming has changed. Gaming used to be about how unrealistic can we put you a situation can we put you in and have you still function. Now everyone wants stuff to be realistic and gritty
I
and
mean,
hardcore.
and it's terrible because like I think about that, and it's like even other games, like who remembers NBA Street?
Yeah.
NFL Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are those. NBA Street was a game that focused on the thing that we all care about in basketball. In basketball, we don't really care about stats. We don't really care about all the other serious stuff. What do we care about? Seeing someone's ankles get broken and the dunks. And the game actually
Right.
rewards you more for dunking and showing off than it is scoring.
Yep.
Like
The
you can stand back and shoot threes, and it's like, okay, we'll give you 500 points. You cross somebody over and drive to the lane and dunk it, you get like 10,000 points. It's
boom
like,
shakalaka.
and
That was
even
NBA
even
Jam.
going
Yep.
back to NBA Jam, a 40-foot somersault dunk,
Oh
it still only
my.
got you 2 points. But even still, it's like that's completely unrealistic. I mean, completely. And I miss that kind of gaming where everything about the game is completely unrealistic.
Yep.
Everything about it, you may have someone's real name in there, but it's
Uh,
unrealistic. It doesn't make sense. Bloody Roar.
yeah.
Completely unrealistic in a sense. You may have human characters, but they could transform into animals. It's like, I mean, I don't know what happened to gaming, but of course, what you said, we want to tackle realism, but it's like realism is not fun. And
Yeah.
as I played about, or shall I say, trolled about in a recent podcast probably about a month ago, I can, if we got Goat Simulator now, I can actually see us coming out with a game called The Commute, where it's all about getting to work. And you
Oh
got
yes,
traffic,
yeah.
you
I
got
remember.
people
I
next to you in
remember.
the car not driving. I mean, and it's all about lowering your stress meter. Like, I can see that. I can see a hyper realistic game that is about commuting to work.
Going back to that article, talking about old games and whatnot. I tell you, one thing I definitely miss from a lot of video games. That's sprites. Like I just like okay, I understand. The 3D models and stuff. They're easier to like make on the computer and stuff. But back then with sprites, they actually had to get a 2D artist to actually draw the characters and then like somehow translate it to a computer and it does the form like sprite based in general. It's just It's like a dying art, sadly.
Dying art.
Yeah, because going, I think I said this before. I'm not sure. Going, let's take the Capcom fighting games. Marvel's Capcom 2. It's a 15-year-old game, but it still looks good. Like the 2D sprites stand out. They're full of life, expression. Then Marvel's Capcom 3 comes out. It's just dark and just I just don't like. It's just especially for something like a 2D fighter like Street Fighter. That's a game that they could still use sprites, and I'll still buy it. I'll still play
Yeah,
it.
I mean, the thing is that a
Well,
lot of
maybe if someone is willing to do some 1080p sprites, maybe someone would do it. But I'm
Yeah,
telling you, if they would have released, let's say Street Fighter 5, Capcom actually said, let's go back to the basics. Let's get rid of the whole cell shading art
people be
style and go back
pissed.
to basics. I'm telling you, you're gonna have the bulk of people that own a PS4, and Xbox One saying, I'm not gonna buy this. This doesn't even look realistic. It looks so cartoony. It's like, but it's the same shit that you
exactly.
played last time. It just has a different look.
Well,
You
you
know,
have to remember, a lot of people that are quote unquote video game fans didn't really start gaming until they hit the third and the not third the fifth and sixth gen. And
Now,
the thing is,
I would say even 7th gen. The hell with that.
even yeah, fifth, sixth,
Yeah.
seventh gen, like old school gamers really don't understand what we had to go through as gamers. Like, like it was a revolution because for us, when we got an NES, going from an Atari to an NES, that was a huge jump in graphical ability because we went from having a little pixel or pixelated man to having a character that could do stuff. It was amazing. But RJ had a topic. I don't want to go too far because I think we've really exhausted the grumpy old man gamer.
yeah. It's a good topic, but yeah, we gotta continue to RJ now.
So, I saw a video on Player Essence a few days ago about the fact that Nintendo could bring back cartridges. Now, this does make sense because, since their new if they do the handheld console hybrid, you won't have to worry about, a medium to use because the handheld would be enormous if they use discs. So using a small cartridge-based thing would make a lot of sense.
I,
Yeah.
I, I can see that.
The only thing that I would see this it could be a problem is because of third parties. One bigger space, then I don't think they're gonna go for cartridge.
No,
And also
that's not true though. Because actually, right now they even have a 512 gigabyte mini SD. I'm sorry, micro.
Yeah,
but then
So honestly, you can put on flash memory. You can put at least 3 or 4 times more space than you could on a disk. And
yeah.
that's a multi-layer disk, so it would actually be far more convenient. It would actually almost eliminate load times altogether. And if you think about it, now I'm pretty sure they won't use micro SD. They'll probably use regular, since it's still something you can actually hold on to and not lose. But think about it, a 512 gigabyte SD card, they can make the games as big as they want. They really could.
Yep.
but I'm cautious here that there's going to be a point in time that these third-party developers are going to make the data of their game so huge, so large that they'll definitely take a dump on the cartridge-based system.
No. They can't,
Not
because
on a
right now
handheld they aren't.
this medium is actually reaching its pinnacle right now. Because although they are actually working on an 8-layer Blu-ray disc or whatever, at the same time it's proprietary and there's too many royalties you got to pay and stuff like that. Then on top of that,
Yeah,
how much do those discs actually cost to make? It would be
exactly.
insane. But a 520, let me see, 256 gigabyte SD card, you can get that in the store for $100. And if you actually are the one making your own, when you're getting a good deal from the manufacturer, you can get it for a lot cheaper than that. But
And
look at the size; it will be perfect.
yeah, and let's be frank here. I know people keep on saying, well, third parties. Well, first of all, let's just get this out of the way. Fuck third parties. Basically, third parties are making a lot of
Third parties.
third parties are making a lot of games on mobile. mobile games cannot be 3.5 gigs, generally speaking. Because, I mean, people are putting this shit on their phone, and your phone has a limited amount of memory. So, I mean, clearly, if Nintendo's next system is going to be, I mean, because people like, it's kind of like that bullshit they pulled at last year's Video Game Awards, where they made mobile gaming its own thing and handheld gaming its own thing, which is bullshit, by the way. Like, people aren't going to, like, they aren't going to make games that are so big on mobile spaces, which your third party said they're going mobile. They're not going to make games so big that they're going to be like, you know, you couldn't use a cartridge to hold it. And with cartridge technology getting to the point where it's getting smaller, you're getting more space, it's getting cheaper to make than it was even 5-10 years ago. I could very much see Nintendo basically still going with like using, because I'm pretty sure their next. I don't think the NX is going to be a hybrid console. I don't. I think the NX is going to be Nintendo's next handheld. It's going to be the take the place of the 3DS, and I think because it's about time. That's about how they kind of they roll out their handhelds like in the middle of their home console, so of their home console's life cycle. And I think the next handheld will be backwards compatible. So I mean, it's obviously going to have to use a similar medium to what they're using now, because you know they don't want to, because they want those 50 million people who own 3DSs to adopt their next handheld.
But then there's also, even if we get there, there's also the whole streaming of gaming, which I am still thinking that we are not even close being there yet.
No, we're not. Because I mean, just look at our internet infrastructure over here compared to other countries. We're leagues behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not even close. Like the internet over here, like trust me, we're probably just a couple steps better than a third world country.
In
Like,
places,
especially when it comes to the pricing, we're not there yet. Like if you live in a major metropolitan area, you may think like, well, internet's great, but most of America is rural, so it's like, no,
exactly,
it's not good.
It's rural and suburbs, and even if you live in a suburb that has decent internet, it's going to be, depending on where you live, what neighborhood you live in, what part of the county you live in, you might have good internet, you might have garbage internet. It just, you don't know. Yeah. And that's kind of sad, you know. That's really, you know. Yeah. It's like, so when I hear a lot of people say, well, the next gen video game streaming will stream things over the internet. I'm like, or my favorite, the cloud. The cloud. I'm like, no. You're shitting me. You're joking.
Right.
Oh.
And silence, ladies and gentlemen, silence.
Oh no, I thought RJ had another topic.
Yeah, I thought he was going to continue. Are you still there, RJ?
Yeah, I'm still here. I don't know. I think people are doing too much speculation on what the NX is doing. They also don't realize how Nintendo works, because they always come out with their handheld before they come out with their new console. That's how they've always worked.
Yeah, I'm curious though. Do y'all think that maybe that we might have like a longer lifespan just because it's a high definition console, or would it be the traditional 5, 6, 7 year Nintendo lifespan?
I think that it might have a 6-year life cycle, and I think that Nintendo, like right now, okay, the Wii U is making profit for Nintendo. They've gotten production cheap enough that they're making money on every console sold, and they're making money on the games that they're being sold on the console. Yeah. And make no mistake, Nintendo is making money off of the Wii U. If you don't think they ain't making money off of the Wii U, go.
They have since launch.
Yeah, go look. There's a reason Satoru Iwata dropped Splatoon on the same day, just like they did Mario Kart 8.
The last Friday of the month.
Last year, it was May 29th.
It was May 30th last year.
May 30th. It was the last Friday in the month, leading into E3. They dropped this bomb before, so going into E3, they've got some good sales going, some good momentum going.
I say it was the 666%.
I don't know about that. I will say this much though. I think the Wii U might have a 6-year life cycle. The only reason I say they're gonna stretch it out is because they want to make more money. Like, it's finally starting to make money. They're starting to beat back the conception that it's the weak U. I mean, I know people are like, well, I see all over the YouTube internets, people are saying it's the weak U. Those people are in the minority. The Wii U has some great games that you cannot get anywhere else. You want to play probably this generation's most imaginative third-person shooter? It's only on the Wii U. And I know some people say, what about Sunset Overdrive? I think Splatoon has already outsold Sunset Overdrive. Okay.
You know what? Speaking about the whole YouTube thing, saying that the Wii U is weak. I wish Shadow Fox came up with a cool tagline about can I get a hearsay?
Now, I have another thing about, since it is about double standards. I think it was in one of the Player Essence articles. Someone said, "Oh, but the Wii U has no games. Meanwhile, there's plenty of third-party games and other games play on PS4 and Xbox One." I'm like, if there's so much games to play on your PS4, then why are you on here talking to us on the Player Essence?
Well, I mean, that's kind of bleeding into the main topic. I wanted Ken to get a chance to bring up his topic, and then Triple M. Not yet? Okay, fine then. Triple M to get into his topic, which, what is your topic, Triple M?
Okay, now someone else found it, I think it was Anderson Archilla that spotted this article, and it was pretty interesting to read. The title says, "There's something about Splatoon that nobody is talking about, but needs to be addressed."
I read that article.
I haven't read it yet. Continue.
So let's see. I'm going to read the first two paragraphs. "It's time to address the squid in the room. Nintendo's new IP features a female lead. She's a total badass too. Seriously, why is nobody talking about this?" Splatoon launched in North America last Friday, and the reviews have been nothing short of favorable. In this game, you play as a squid/human hybrid equipped with paint-based weapon, and are tasked with painting the town while vanquishing all who oppose you. With yesterday's launch of the first batch of free DLC and ranked battles now unlocked, maybe it is a good time to transition from drooling over how fun the game is and talk about Splatoon's most understated achievement. And yes, it's because of
The main character's a girl.
yes, and the thing is, since the reveal of Splatoon, you always see the female character getting the most. I was about to say airtime. But she's the one that'll catch your eye the most.
Yeah.
And I was jokingly said about this, about GVG INU's a vid that he made about the whole feminist thing that completely bashed Nintendo. There was an article about that, and GVG INU made a video about it, and I was like, you know what? Maybe it's time for him to do a follow-up vid with this.
Wait. Now, feminists against Nintendo for what? What they do exactly?
Well, can we just, before you say feminists, it's not feminists are against Nintendo. Real feminists. Look, I have my girlfriend is a gamer.
Excuse me, but I gotta duck out, so I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay, cool,
All
dude.
right.
That's okay. let's just get this out of the way. First of all, the feminists aren't against Nintendo. Okay, I have female friends that are gamers. My girlfriend is a gamer, and they all love Samus. They like Princess Zelda. My girlfriend loved Midna. She thought, man, she's really badass. And she was badass. Midna in Twilight Princess was way more badass than Zelda in Twilight Princess. Let me put it that way, okay? And that's a female character. As a matter of fact, Twilight Princess really, Zelda has a tangential role in that game. It's really Midna and Link's story of the adventure they have together. And like, but I digress. Nintendo has always had strong female characters.
Exactly. We even got a game with Princess Peach, the main character, on DS.
Yeah, and she's totally boss in that game. She beats people's ass with an umbrella in that game. Like literally, she beats people's ass with an umbrella. I mean, that is badass. Okay.
Actually, so, when I said feminist, I meant extreme feminist.
Well, they aren't even feminists. They're basically, if you're saying that Nintendo doesn't have female protagonists and they're anti female agenda, but you casually ignore Princess Zelda, you ignore Samus. You ignore. I mean, like Nintendo had a female protagonist in the game before anyone else was doing it.
Yep.
Okay, they fooled you into rooting for this badass bounty hunter. And you're like, man, who's this badass bounty hunter? And if you played the game well, you found out it was a chick and a unitard with purple hair, because in the NES version, she had purple hair. They need to bring that back. Where she had the purple hair. No, she had the purple leotard and green hair.
Remember, the Justin Bailey password.
Yeah, they need to bring that. They need to bring that shit back. But I digress. I mean, Samus, like, the only people who say that are people who are going after... It's easy for them to go for the low-hanging fruit, okay? That's what it is. It's low-hanging fruit. It's just some bullshit that they say just to, because Nintendo's not going to say anything about it. They're just going to be like, yeah, whatever. Because, I like how Nintendo's really laid back about it. They don't, like... Yeah. Nintendo doesn't defend themselves. They're like, unless it's really egregious. They're like, we'll show you what we can do in our game. Like, people were talking shit about Splatoon. They dropped the game, and you notice a lot of people aren't as vocal about what they were saying because the game is so damn fun. You don't have time to be doing all that shit.
Hell yeah, it's fun. I'm playing right now. Forgive me.
And look, don't think bad about Dr. Feelgood, because I'm going to be playing it later on today in order to earn some cash so I can pay my dope dealer. And yes, there is a dope dealer in the game. There's a dude in a back alley who sells you stuff to enhance your performance in the game. He's a dope dealer.
Yeah. Now this same article also literally praises Nintendo for this to not be the main spotlight. They just want the game to answer for itself. Well, you gotta be. Am I off?
No, I just. I don't. Like, there's nothing I can really say because you're right. I mean,
no, it's just that the screen just paused for me for a second. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gone.
I mean, the fact of the matter is that, like, that's how you know you've made progress. Like, when you can have a gay character, when you can have a character of a certain sexuality. You can have a character who's male or female or African American or Hispanic or whatever descent, and they're just a character. They're cool. No one's like, oh, well, this is the first gay character. This is the first female character. It's like you're just enjoying the game, and that's all. That's how you know you broke a barrier. Because, you're not sitting there thinking, this is so-and-so. It's like, wow, that's awesome. And you just keep it moving. I mean, I like Samus because she's a badass. the fact that she's a woman is inconsequential to her being a total and complete badass.
Yeah. Well,
Like, don't let ovaries, don't let the fact Sammy has ovaries fool you into thinking that she will not plant her metal foot dead up your ass. Because she will. She will. Go ask Ridley and the Space Pirates and Dark Samus about how she will plant her foot up your ass.
right. Now, on to my second topic, which, you know, EA, no, EA has done a lot of stuff lately that just makes me want to turn the other cheek and not look back. But there's at least one franchise of theirs that I still like, which is Need for Speed. Well, they uh, they they just released news that hey, they're gonna make a new Need for Speed game. I was actually quite happy, even though I might not acquire the game since there's a huge possibility that it's not coming to a Nintendo console. Period. I was still happy, but then my dream just got crushed when when news broke out that this game will, in order to play this game, it needs to be online indefinitely, and I was like, okay, that's it, EA. You just lost me again.
But you know that's the way of the future.
Yeah, man. Don't you understand? That's next gen game. That's so next gen to have your shit online all the time. It foils hackers and pirates. Look. This is what gamers want. Even though like most of the people who like in the world, like I would say that like 50% of the people who own video gaming systems don't have a stable, reliable internet connection. And the other 50% who do have a stable, reliable internet connection can still have issues where, it might not work perfectly. And I don't,
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know.
I, I mean, I know this is EA we're talking about, but
Yeah, it's
like,
EA, so
but I'm a bloody hell. Haven't any of these companies, EA, Ubisoft, heck, even Activision, when something like this they were planning to do, heck, even did execution, it all went bloody to hell, man.
Well, let's be frank. This copy of Need for Speed is probably going to sell like shit because of the online connection. Because the thing is like most people who buy racing games, they just want to play a racing game. Like they don't really care, especially Need for Speed, because Need for Speed is really, yeah, it has multiplayer, but really it's people play it for the single player and to have the online matches. But not everyone has stable online, so whatever. It's EA. It's we all know. At this point, it's all I can say is it's EA. What do you?
Yes, I guess I'm still foolish for thinking there still might be a light at the end of the tunnel for these
Let me put it
companies.
this way: EA is like that kid you grew up with who was always in trouble. Always in trouble, and your parents are like, "Man, that kid's going to jail," and and people are like, "Oh, you shouldn't say that," and then they go to jail and they keep on going back to jail and getting in trouble. It's like at a certain point, you just aren't surprised by them effing up. It's like,
Yeah.
That's EA.
Well,
it's EA.
yes. Well, moving on. On to my final topic, which I had a fourth topic, but that is going to be in the main topic because it's all Sony written all over it. But I digress on that one. Now, I'm not sure if any of you have seen or heard that Jeff Keighley has partnered with YouTube for E3 coverage and beyond.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, man, game trailers is pretty much dead
Yeah.
at this point.
Now,
Look, game trailers was dead when they got Michael Pachter's Pack Attack on that on that
Oh
on that.
God.
When they got Michael Pachter, I was like, game trailers is effed.
Yeah.
but now,
But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
but now, as I've seen this, I was like, there was a light bulb just struck in my head. Now, it's been a while that companies, individuals, heck, even broadcasters are are ditching the old ways uh, the old ways of the media and basically just run up to the internet. But now, if you just look at this in the gaming industry alone, I've seen this gone up exponentially after Nintendo did their digital event of E3 last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm and the question I have is the question is it because of Nintendo's choice of doing online stream directly to us that the whole gaming media just flocked onto YouTube and Twitch TV and all of that?
I don't think it's directly because of that. I mean, I think it's part of it. See, the thing is like I watch IGN sometimes because sometimes you have to watch the enemy's news cast in order to figure out what they're doing. And I see people who are of two minds about a lot of Nintendo's digital event last year. The people who were at E3 were like, Nintendo's E3 was garbage because there was no press conference. There was no, big, huge to-do about what Nintendo was going to do. But for people who were at home or at work or wherever you saw Nintendo's digital event, we were like, man, that was awesome. Like that Robot Chicken opening, where like Reggie, like the dude's like, I want to talk about when we're going to get Mother 3. And he like burns the guy with the firefly. He's like, I got something to show you. And he eats it and he throws a fireball at the dude and burns him to death. I mean, that was awesome. And as a fan, that was awesome. But you have to remember something. Nintendo has circumvented an entire branch of the video game media. They've gone around them because, let's be frank. If you're Nintendo, you've got sites like IGN, GameStop, GameSpot, Game Trailer. You have the quote-unquote video game media misrepresenting you, talking shit about your games, shitting on your products.
And now it's time to cut their asses off, and now they're all begging for any news they can get on Nintendo. And like even now, it used to be they couldn't wait to shun something. Nintendo could have a perfect idea, and it's like, well, this doesn't make sense. This is not the norm, but now it's like, oh, Nintendo has Direct, and they're the main ones talking about the stuff on Direct. It's like, oh, hold on, you used to always sidestep Nintendo news or not even pay much attention to it because you want to put up your next Destiny ad. But now it's like when you get wind of the Direct, you're the first person on it to like announce it to the whole world.
See, Nintendo has control over how their information gets out, and man, that pisses off IGN, GameSpot, Polygon. It pisses them all off. They're like, fuck, I can't believe that. We don't get. See, it's about access. Well, we don't get. Because I remember I was watching the Nintendo voice chat thing on IGN, and like Pierce Schneider's like, man, they don't. It's about access, and I think they should have a conference. I'm like, so yeah, Nintendo should spend over $100,000. Just to rent out a space.
No. They spend more than that. Even last year.
No, I'm saying just for the space. That's just the space. Then they have to put money into getting seats for the space. Then they got to put in money for their staff to come down, for the Nintendo of America staff to come down from Seattle down to California. Which, that's a drive. That's a bus ride, a train ride, a plane ride. But then, like, you got head honcho people flying over. Let me tell you something. As someone who has flown to Japan, like, 6 times now at this point, buying shit. Like, well, the first 2 times it was because, the first time it was because I was in, I had to go. I was in. It was my semester abroad. That was paid for by the school. But the other 5 times I paid for myself for business purposes. Okay, that is an expensive ass plane trip, and you're talking like Satoru Iwata,
And that's coach.
Shigeru Miyamoto, whoever else they bring with them. That is expensive, okay? And I mean, it's expensive. It's time consuming. I mean, people are like, well, Iwata's not gonna be at E3. He must be. No, the man's got shit to do. See, here's the thing. E3 for Nintendo is like, okay, E3, here's what people don't understand about E3. E3 is, for lack of a better term, it's where people in the industry can, like, the
Show
media
off.
can see, the media can see what they have, and then Microsoft and Sony can have a dick measuring contest, and Nintendo can be like, yeah, this is what we got, yeah, whatever, bye, drop the mic, walk off. Okay, that's all there is. That's all E3 is. E3 is not for fans of gaming. The news that comes out of it is about gaming, but it's not for fans of gaming. It's not like PAX. PAX is for gamers. CES is kind of for tech heads. Comic-Con is, well, Comic-Con used to be about
E3 is basically about building hype, period, because
Yeah.
it's about the media outlets, and they're gonna hype up everything because they want to talk about it. It's really for the media to be able to make money on their own websites and magazines and stuff like that. It's not for the fans because it hasn't been for the fans. Well, fans haven't had access since what, like the first few E3s.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
they stopped. Then it used to be that anyone could go. Now it's just like media.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Cause you Matthew, you write about crap, I lost my place. Sony and Microsoft having a contest because
It is.
remember back in 2013 when Microsoft screwed up and then Sony like, oh, we're not gonna have this, not gonna have that, and
It's a
then
dick
Sony.
measuring contest. They just go around saying, "Hey, I mean," but it's always been like that. Even back when E3 didn't exist and it was Space World, you had Nintendo, Sega, and Sony just shooting shots at each other. That's all it was. That's all it's ever been. E3 is just these that's what these big titans of gaming just competing with each other and seeing who's the biggest, who's the baddest. And I'm gonna tell you right now, no one won. Gamers didn't win. They didn't win. Sony lost billions of dollars trying to go up against Microsoft. And we got shitty games, okay?
I think that was the same year that Sony had like you can preview the PS4 at select theaters. I think that was that same year.
Oh, they're
something
having
like
it again
that.
this year. Yeah, they're having the PlayStation
And-
experience.
What the
And
hell?
Microsoft is taking the Nintendo approach and doing some type of digital event.
Yeah.
And here's the funny thing.
I
And
knew it.
to all the naysayers out there that said that, I mean, even the media outlets, and I mean every single one last year declared Nintendo had won E3. Even the people that can't stand Nintendo, always badmouth Nintendo, even they admit, yeah, even Nintendo's 48-minute direct outdid Sony's 2.5 hour and Xbox's like 2 hour, whole display, their whole stage conference. And there was still some naysayers saying that, oh well, who do you think won E3? Well, Nintendo didn't count because they weren't there. Really? Treehouse ran that place for
And
the
it's
whole
gonna
2
run
days.
it,
of the place.
and it's gonna run it, and it's gonna run it. Look, Nintendo has even more shit going on at E3 this year. They've got the Nintendo World Championships before E3 begins. So I mean,
And then on top of that, Nintendo even came out and said that because they did a digital event instead of doing like a stage, like live press conference, they saved like $5 million.
Wow.
yeah. Well,
Because
I
if you
mean,
think about everything that goes into it, like Red said, the flights, because these people, you have to pay for the flights. It's not something that basically that you just walk up to, American Airlines and say, hey,
It is
Well, I
expensive.
work for Nintendo.
If they're
Oh
flying
well,
from
sir, that's a
Japan,
$10,000 flight.
if they're flying from Japan, and yeah, I mean, if you own a big enough company, and Nintendo's big enough that they can get like discounts, because flights love to give company, because even if they give a discount, they're still making a lot of money if you do a lot of flights with them. But I mean, that's still a lot of money. And so that you can sit there and say, yeah, we got. I mean, Nintendo really had nothing to prove last gen because the Wii was like the hottest selling thing. Like Nintendo, people keep on talking shit about Nintendo right now. Well, the Wii U isn't selling. They've got amiibos that are sold out everywhere. Splatoon sold out in Japan. People stole a damn amiibo truck in the UK. They stole a damn amiibo truck. I mean,
Yeah.
not a Splatoon truck.
Yeah. So obviously Nintendo's doing something right, but people don't want to. People are oblivious.
But I mean, I digress.
I want to say something about Pierre Snyder from IGN, because
Yeah.
for me personally, he was at least one of the persons at IGN that I could really trust. And what his opinions is always like grounded. You can you can even agree with them. Even some of the things that you might not agree with them, still you can see where he's coming from. But then after he said that, what Matthew said, I was like, okay, I feel like you're a shill now.
Yeah, because he was like, because I remember watching the IGN thing. He's like, well, I think you need to have the press conference so we can get access. Like, you don't look. It has nothing to do with your access. Look, okay, when you're in the media, your job is to give people information. That's it. That's all you're supposed to do is give them the information. Now, you might put a slant on it or a spin on it, but ultimately, you're supposed to report on what you know. Now, if there's information that you don't have access to, that's the only reason you're pissed off about it, is that you didn't have access to it. You see, Nintendo has, just like I said, circumvented an entire group of people that were pissing on them, and they were like, okay, all right. It's about control. Nintendo's like, we will control our product and our information.
Everything. They
They're going
believe
to
in
control
controlling
it.
every aspect of their business, if possible. That's why the Wii U has a proprietary disc format that is not based on Blu-ray technology. It is not. It would have been the easiest choice like Microsoft did, but Nintendo said, fuck that, we're not going to pay them any royalties for
Yeah.
using this disc
They're
format.
like, we ain't giving, because I mean, Microsoft. I know everyone's like, oh man, the Xbox One. Do you know how stupid it is to have someone else's technology in your product? So every time you make a sale, you have to give them some of your money. That's stupid.
Yeah, that's idiotic. And what's so funny is that people say all this shit about Nintendo and the press conference and the fact that they don't have one. But like Red said, they found a way around them. And now, at first we were getting directs like once every few months, but now we're getting one almost every single month with almost talking about almost every single upcoming major release. And
And
it
then
goes from indie games all the way up to AAA titles and even their own first party titles. So it's like now there's really no need to even go to IGN. If you love Nintendo, you have no need to even go to IGN anymore, any other website to get information because Nintendo's going to tell you things that even like there's no leaks. Nintendo can tell you everything you want to know about something if they feel that it's worth knowing about at that point in the development cycle. They
Yep.
do. But like you say, they have found a way to not need the media. And since the media can't report news right, or they want to always twist something around, Nintendo just said, screw it. We
Yep.
can tell the truth because we're the ones making the products, it's releasing on our console, and now the press is begging for any news they can get from Nintendo, and Nintendo's not going to give it. They're not.
Yep.
Yeah. It's
And when
pretty.
they do give permission to someone to give information, they're choosing people who either are pro Nintendo or not assholes to give the information. And this is where I give a shameless plug for gamers at large. I have to do this because gamers at large, I mean, we're just gamers, okay? We aren't getting paid by Sony or Microsoft or EA or Activision or Ubisoft or Joe Blow and the Heart Stealers. We look, we're just dudes and gals, guys and gals that just like the game. And we'll tell you if the game is garbage. We'll tell you if it's good. We'll tell you if it's bad. We'll tell you if we're indifferent. and we all come from different backgrounds in terms of our gaming knowledge and what we like. We have people in our community that own websites, have blog sites that will give you the truth about how we feel about things, and we're not going to sugarcoat it and try and make things. We're not going to pull an IGN and say Grand Theft Auto 5 is the greatest thing ever, even though the online is still a broken piece of shit. We aren't going to talk about that. We don't do that to you.
And all within the same month.
Yeah.
So now we get straight news. It's not a lie. I say the only lie that Nintendo has really told us, and it wasn't really a lie, it's kind of they snuck it in there and changed it without really officially telling us, is when Smash Brothers had like a summer release initially. And then a direct came around and it says the 3DS version will be available in September. I mean October. And we're like, yeah, but you said it's gonna be summer. October's not summer, damn it. That's well into fall now. And it was kind of like he threw it in there like we wouldn't notice, but yeah, we noticed. That was pretty much the only thing that they kind of changed up at the last minute, and for good reason. I can understand that. But other than that, anything that comes out of Nintendo's mouth, I can trust.
Actually, that's the same thing when they did with Donkey Kong Country Returns. Was Returns? No, the Tropical Freeze. Yeah. When they switched that game with 3D World.
Well, the thing that people don't understand is that Nintendo doesn't have the third-party support of Sony or Microsoft, and they got to do what they can, what they have. And to tell you the truth, for what they have had to overcome in order to get the Wii U profitable, it is astounding what they've done in order to get the Wii U and the 3DS to where they are and to make the money that they've been making off of it.
They're basically living out their own games. They really are living out their own games and nothing else.
Their own games and the third parties that'll work with them. I think I applaud. I'm not going to be like, this is why I think that Satoru Iwata is actually a pretty damn good CEO and president for Nintendo, is that this guy knows how to get shit done and how to come back from bad shit and come back and try a different approach. I think that's a really good thing to have for a CEO and president of something. Exactly. But he needs to be fired because he doesn't understand whatever, according to some people. Which leads to our main topic, the double standards and the ridiculous double standards in gaming. This is the main topic. I chose this as my topic. Next week's main topic will be completely different because it will not be my main topic. It will be one of the members of the podcast main topic. But this week, it's going to be my main topic, and I chose this because I've seen this repeatedly. I saw it especially this week. Sony is re-releasing the Uncharted collection, Uncharted 1, 2, and 3. 2 and 3 will not have any of the multiplayer, but you'll be able to play the online multiplayer. But you will be able to get into the Uncharted 4 online multiplayer beta because, when you think of a premier single-player gaming experience, you think, man, this game needs online multiplayer. So they're going to re-release Uncharted, the remaster of a game that came out of games that came out less than 2 or 3 years ago. And
not one, 3 games.
3 games that came out less than 2 or 3 years ago. And I have nothing to say except, why do we accept this bullshit? Because that's what it is. When Nintendo re-released Wind Waker HD, there were some people.
Wait. I thought you were going to choose Metroid Prime Collection, because...
No, I was going to say Wind Waker HD re-release. They said that game, because, it's different with Metroid Prime, because that literally, when it first launched, was a $10 game. You got 3 really good games for $10. I mean, that almost felt like you were stealing from Nintendo, almost.
Wait. It was actually $10 on release?
The first week, yeah. The first week it was $10, and then it went up to $20, which for a game that normally retails for $80, that's still But I digress. So basically, the ridiculous double standard in gaming is where we're going. Like people say that we want new IPs. We want new IPs. We want new IPs. A new IP drops and it bombs spectacularly. Sunset Overdrive, anyone? You know, or they say, well, we don't want remasters and rehashes of
Codename
shit.
Steam.
Yeah, Codename Steam. We don't want rehashes and remasters of shit that came out last gen. And here we have people buying rehashes and remasters of shit that came out last gen.
And on top of that, and did I hear something about Resogun is now being ported to the PS3?
Oh, they are porting Resogun to the PS3.
Hey,
And I'm
score,
like,
score one for me.
Which is shout out to Shadow Fox because even he said in a podcast probably about a year ago that he felt that game could have been on the PS3.
oh, I know that game could. I looked at Resogun. I'm like, why is this game not on the PS3? Like, because it looks like a up-res PS3 game. And I'm like, yet people are like, man, you need to get a PS4 for Resogun. I'm not spending $400 on a system for a damn downloadable title. Are you fucking insane?
Yeah.
Here's the thing I want to say about Uncharted, the Uncharted collection, about the whole online business thing. At first, I really expected that some people are not going to be happy. But then I thought to myself, okay, wait a minute. They must have done this. And although Naughty Dog's reasoning is bollocks to me, but in my mind, I thought they would do this. That they would put the online mode of Uncharted 2 and 3 in Uncharted 4. Now, that was my guess. But then after I've seen a vid on YouTube from another doctor when he said that the people that wanted online game on any game, but when it comes to the Uncharted collection, which basically got stripped from the online mode. The same people that were gunning for online play are now saying it doesn't bother them. I was like, hypocrisy much? If that was really the case, that's double standard.
Yeah, I got one in particular. I mentioned a little bit earlier, but I'm gonna go ahead and nail it now. When people say that the Wii U has no games, like people have a PS4, Xbox One, or both, they say Wii U has no games, but you look at their collection, like at home, or they mention some of the good games that's on PS4, and it's like that system or Xbox One or systems for that matter, those systems don't have games either because majority of those games you're playing now are remasters and stuff that's already from last generation consoles.
Yeah,
And
and
this
I
is where
actually
you
got
can.
into a debate with someone on Google a couple of months back. He made it, got made the same statement. I challenged him. I said, "Okay, I want you to name off 20 games." I said, "Name off 10 games you have on the PS4 to Xbox One that are not remasters, that are not indies, that they are, and they're not third-party titles. They're exclusive games. You name me 10 exclusive games. No indies, no remasters, no third parties."
No
And
multiplats.
yeah, and yeah, no multiplats.
No
Couldn't do
cross gen.
it. I mean, he literally skated around it for about 80 comments, and literally never ever did it. But the Wii U has the most exclusives, more than both those consoles combined. And another double standard that I think I mentioned this in a past podcast, right around I think Wave 3 Amiibo release or whatever. Um, People always say that I want to play Nintendo games on my console. Why can't I play Bayonetta 2 on my PS4 or Xbox One? It's like, okay, let's flip that around. Why can't I play Bloodborne on my Wii U? See, no one ever says that from Nintendo.
No, I'll say
See,
it. Why? Why? And
I
what
mean, but you think
force?
about it. People are always saying that Nintendo games needs to be on their system, but how about can your games be on our system?
No,
See,
I'll
no one
say
ever
it.
thinks about that. People just always think that Nintendo needs to move their stuff over and stop making consoles. How about you move your stuff over and you stop making consoles? Like,
Here,
I don't
I'll
go to
say
Burger
it.
King and say, give me a Big Mac.
I would have
I don't
loved
do
to
that.
play Sunset Overdrive on my Wii U. That game looks like it would have done well on the Wii U.
It would have, but they
Um,
but they chose
but they
or got
chose
money
the
had it by the
Dude
wrong
Bro
company.
console. They chose the Dude Bro console, and I know some people are gonna say it's the Xbox One. Look, listen, we all saw that delightful survey they took of the different gamers. The PS4, they got it because their family wanted it. The Xbox One because of brand loyalty, and the Wii U because it's a fun system. Okay, those were the number one reasons those people bought those consoles. If the only reason you bought a console was because of brand loyalty, it's because you had an Xbox 360 and the original Xbox. Okay, they got you. Okay, and here's the thing: Microsoft is already hinting at. I know. Look, listen. I'm gonna spoil Microsoft's E3 presentation for you. Somewhere in there, they're gonna drop that a lot of their games on the Xbox One are gonna also be on PC. And if you buy one version, you'll probably be able to play it on your Xbox One. And guess what? Okay, here's what they're gonna do. They're gonna make like between 60 to 75% of the games on the Xbox One will also be playable on your Microsoft compatible PC. Okay?
Oh boy. Windows 10, everybody.
And if you have Windows 10, boy.
Oh,
Seriously,
I'm happy with 7.
You know what?
I was actually happy with 7
I
as well.
don't like 7. I don't like 8. I liked XP, and they're like, I'm gonna upgrade. I'm gonna upgrade to 10 because the one thing that I was holding out to upgrade on, Project Sparks, because they said it was not compatible with Windows 10, and I played it, and it's just total garbage. So I'm like, I'm not gonna miss out on upgrading. I'm not going to be missing anything when I upgrade.
Well, with me, I'm going to wait a while to see how this new Windows is going to work, as I literally have an update on this laptop here that's telling me to get Windows 10. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna wait.
And speak for yourself. I want Cortana on my PC. I want Cortana to tell me when I've got a message. I want Cortana to tell me what time it is. I want Cortana to. That's the only reason I'm joking. That's not the only reason I'm upgrading. But I'm sounding like an Xbox fanboy when I say that, though, because Cortana's on par with Princess Peach, according to some people. But basically,
Who else said that? You know what?
I'm not gonna tell you who said it.
Yeah,
But suffice it to say, my point is this: I'm gonna upgrade. I like that because here's the thing: I don't know why Microsoft ever created the Xbox because, like, that wasn't their wheelhouse. They were good at PC, like promoting PC, publishing PC games, and they had some good games. I mean, Age of Empires, Microsoft Flight Simulator. Anyone remember Microsoft Flight Simulator?
I will say, yeah, I have not played that, but I will say it's pretty good.
Have people forgotten who first published Mass Effect 1? Everyone now associates Mass Effect with EA. BioWare used to be a second-party developer for Microsoft. Okay, that's why Mass Effect 1 took forever to get put on other consoles.
Yeah.
It was on PC and Xbox and the original Xbox. Okay.
Interesting enough. But yeah. Well, speaking about that, here's the double standards with me on this one, and it all starts with Capcom. Apparently, Capcom is going to remaster in HD Resident Evil 0.
A GameCube game.
Surprisingly, yes. And it's going to be on the PS4, the Xbox One, the PC, the PS3. Yes, last gen console as well. That means, you guessed it, Xbox 360. But
But no Wii
guess
U.
which?
Yeah, and that's a GameCube
Exactly, my
game.
friend. But I kind of
I
make
keep
a
I keep telling you guys. You guys think that it's always that the publishers are saying that, hey, we don't want to put our games on the system. I am telling you, I think Nintendo has been fed up since 2013 when those third parties broke their promises, and they're just saying. I think in some of these meetings, when the game is pitched to Nintendo, Nintendo's like, no, you kind of effed us over last time, so no thanks. We have our own survival horror game that we're going to be making. I'm telling
Well, they
you,
got
if,
Fatal
if you look
Frame,
at all
so
of the
coming
seasons,
out,
it's like,
so
what is your excuse as a third party publisher or developer when you're bringing it to current gen, last gen, and even mobile platforms, and everything but the Wii U? And there's even been a few games that went to the Wii and everything is but not the Wii U. I'm
yeah,
telling you,
like FIFA
Nintendo is probably in
19.
these meetings saying, no, we don't want it. We got our own thing in mind. Thank you for
Um,
stopping by.
now. Here's
I
the
would
thing.
agree with you, except for the fact that some of this stuff is. I don't think it's Nintendo's like, well, they just because every console you want a decent breadth of games. Like
But
I would have loved.
you don't want crap though.
Well, but here's the thing. I would have loved to have had an HD remastered, um, what was it called? Soul Calibur 2 on the Wii U. That would have been awesome.
But what if the terms of the deal to get it on a specific platform or console are not favorable? Will you still want that game, especially given the recent history of said publisher or developer?
Well, it's Namco Bandai, so I mean, I wasn't holding out hope for it. I'm just saying I would have wanted to have it. you know, um,
I mean, well, I guess the best example I can come up with is like, okay, let's say Ray, you're Nintendo, and let's say that you gave EA a chance, Ubisoft screwed you with Rayman Legends and
yep.
Watch Dogs, and let's say Ubisoft walks in and says, yeah, we got a new Assassin's Creed coming out. We released 3 and 4 on your console. Do you want Assassin's Creed Unity? And then you being Nintendo, you say, well, 3 was pretty good. Before you kind of screwed us over a little bit with that game. I mean, it was a decent port,
No
but it wasn't as good as you could have
DLC,
done.
no
So then,
DLC at all. Yeah.
and then they also say we also got a DLC plan or season pass, and if they pre-order the game, they get speed pants. Now you're sitting in a meeting at Nintendo, and you're sitting here like, did you just say speed pants for pre-ordering? And you say you want to pitch a season pass? And how much you want for this? Like, what is the business breakdown plan of this? And if it's not favorable, are you gonna really be like, okay, so you screwed me once, you screwed me twice, and
How
now
many
you're
times
deliberately
can
trying
you
to screw
screw
me
me
again?
over?
You want
Yeah,
me to
how many
say
times can you screw me over before it's my fault for letting you get away with it? Yeah.
exactly? So if you were
Yeah.
Nintendo, you'd be like, you know what? I'll pass on Unity. From what we can tell, it's gonna be buggy as hell.
Well, I mean, look, Microsoft paid Ubisoft extra money to make that game standardized between the Xbox One and the PS4, and that game was just garbage on everything. Garbage on PC, garbage on console. I mean, if you bought Assassin's Creed Unity, I'm sorry, dude. Ubisoft stole your money.
Now, here's what I wanted to say about on Capcom's side, and this is gonna fall in the same manner with the first Resident Evil that was remastered, that was redone on the GameCube. That they put it on all consoles except for the Wii U. Now, I'm going to see someone asking Capcom saying, "Wait a minute, what happened to the Wii U version?" Then Capcom themselves is going to say, "Oh, you guys already have one. It's like 2 gens ago." So
No. Capcom's not gonna. Here's what people don't understand. Capcom is getting paid by Microsoft and Sony to put these games on their system. Capcom, aside from Monster Hunter, Capcom is doesn't have a lot of stuff that's making a lot of money for them right now. Monster Hunter is cheap to make. Okay, the engine is old as shit. Okay,
They're not trying to upgrade it anytime soon.
Yeah, it's cheap for them to make a Monster Hunter game. They've refined the engine a lot over the years, but it's cheap for them to make a game. It sells well. Literally, Capcom makes millions of yen just in Japan alone off of Monster Hunter. Then you factor in how it's growing worldwide. That's the only IP they have right now that makes them a decent amount of money over all the time. So basically.
Yeah, I was about to mention Monster Hunter. That's possibly one of the few games that's going to be on a Nintendo console, and you just hit it.
Well, everything on Monster Hunter, isn't it? Because that's where their audience is. Because basically Sony got their ass up on their shoulders when they had the PSP. Even though, and here's the thing: when you have a 66 and 2/3% piracy rate on a handheld. That means that two out of every three people who buy that handheld are buying it for the sole purpose of pirating it and doing other shit aside from playing your games on it.
Oh yeah.
That is a failure of a handheld. But I digress.
You're right. You're right, Matthew. PSP first came out. Like I just got mine a couple months ago. I played games on it, but when PSP first came out, because I was still in grade school and whatnot. Everybody that had a PSP used it for one thing. Music player.
Pirates.
And a music player.
Yeah. To play SNES, PS1, Sega Dreamcast, GameCube games. That's what they used it for. Okay. Now look, I'm not gonna not. It's your money. Like here's the thing. Like I know people like, oh, you shouldn't. Look, listen. Sony should. So if Sony had supported that system with better first-party support, exclusives, like. It would have done a lot better, but they didn't. They basically they relied on third parties who basically ported a lot of PS2 and PS1 games to the PSP.
Yeah, they relied on the hype that it was way more powerful than a 3DS, and which I will admit,
the PSP was more powerful than the DS.
Yeah, and I will admit, it really was. It really was a powerful piece of hardware. But in the past, the The Game Gear was more powerful than the Game Boy, and it had color, but battery life sucked.
All I'm gonna say about the PSP, which leads to my third double standard argument, which is the Vita has been declared a dead handheld. So, people are like, I can't believe that this happened. Look, let me just state this right now, as Dr. Feelgood said. Many handhelds have gone up against a Nintendo one, and they're left dead and broken and bleeding in the gutter. Did you honestly think that shit that Sony released was gonna beat a Nintendo handheld? Seriously? Really?
Vita is destined to succeed.
That was Greg Miller. That was Greg Miller on when he was up with IGN. He was like
that was Greg Miller earning his paycheck for promoting the product.
He's like, they're still like, and the Vita please stop hyping this shit up, please. Look. I'm only 29 years old, but I remember getting my Game Boy, and I remember, I have other handhelds too, but I've seen handhelds that were more powerful than Nintendo's handheld, had more specs, had color before color was in, had a backlit light. They had all of these accoutrements and caveats and awesome things, and they still got rolled over. They got steamrolled by whatever Nintendo had. By companies that had better first-party games, better support from first-party developers for their handheld, and they still got steamrolled. Why the fuck would you think that a company like Sony, with relatively anemic first-party offerings, could go up against the company that has Pokemon?
You've seen those handhelds.
I don't understand.
You've seen those handhelds. I actually touched a Game Gear.
I own a Game Gear. I own a Game Gear. I own a Nomad. I own a Wonder Swan. I own a Neo Geo Pocket.
I will admit the Nomad was cool though, because basically you just putting in Genesis cartridges at that point.
It was a Sega Genesis. Yeah. It was a portable Sega. Except the Nomad, if you thought the Game Gear sucked batteries dry like a bitch, the Nomad was like 100 times worse.
I played worse. I've actually played an Atari Lynx.
Oh, don't get me started on the links. Like literally, there was a point in the early '90s where I just wish like the industry had an intervention for Atari and like said, look, you need to stop. Just stop. Just stop. Just please stop. Just the links, your handheld. Just stop. The 3D. Just stop. Just please stop. The Jaguar, the link. Just stop. Just
Jaguar
just
CD
please.
didn't even work.
But you know what? You gotta give him A for effort.
No, I'm gonna give him an F for effort because look, if you've never played a Jaguar. The Jaguar is a special kind of terrible.
Actually, that one I didn't even have to play it. Just seeing it, how it works.
I looked at Angry Video Game Nerd. That's closest to Jaguar I ever gonna get to.
Look, I had a friend who, like, everyone had this friend they grew up with whose parents got them everything. Like, they had everything.
The rich
like,
kids.
His parents weren't rich. His parents just got him everything. I don't know. They must have known somebody who knew somebody. But they had a Neo Geo Pocket. They had a Neo Geo, like the $600 Neo Geo back in the day with the $200 cartridges. They had that. They had an Atari Jaguar, and I remember going to his house and playing it, and I was like, "This is what?" First of all, that controller was shit. Okay, that controller. I was like, "What retarded person? What crackhead designed this controller?" Like, I mean, I thought the people. I'll be frank with you. I thought Microsoft spending $100 million on the new Xbox One controller was a crackhead move. But to quote Judge Joe Brown from TV, that Jaguar controller, that was a crackhead move right there. That was a crackhead move. So you spent $100 million to remake a controller that looks virtually identical to your old controller. That's crackhead move right there. But yeah, I mean that was basically how I felt when I saw the Atari controller. Then we played. What did we play? We played the Jaguar version of Doom, which sucked. We played that game where you play where you're. It's like a Star Fox ripoff, but like every time you crash into something, this green head pops up and says, "Where did you learn to fly?"
You talking about Cybermorph?
We played that. We played that on the Jaguar. We played that shit.
I think that was torture.
Yeah, let me put it this way. You're a kid. You don't know any better. But this is the same kid who had the Sega CD with sewer sharks, where everyone wanted FMV in every goddamn thing.
Oh,
like,
God.
Yeah, FMV in everything. Kind of like how everything's CGI now.
I'm glad FMV died.
Well, CGI it didn't die. It evolved. It went from FMV to CGI because everything. It's like, oh, we don't need to actually do anything in the engine. We'll just do CGI. But I mean, that's the double standards we're seeing.
Yeah, you got a point.
I'm done.
I'm done. I gotta go next. I gotta go next. All right, Konami.
Oh snap!
Oh gosh, come on, man. Must we go down this road?
Yes.
Okay, we'll go. Okay, this will be our last topic. We'll go Konami, and then we'll get to the question.
No, I'm just kidding. Really, I am. I actually want to hear what he has to say.
We went from oh, we'll only focus on mobile games from now on, and then like 2-3 days later, oh, we didn't mean to make the internet panic. We're sorry. We're still thinking about consoles. If you're still thinking about consoles, then why is it that the recently announced game that you announced is a Yu-Gi-Oh game? That's. And here's
the thing.
I think they're starting small.
The best Yu-Gi-Oh games came out on handhelds.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's coming out to PC and mobile. I'm like, no, it's coming out to consoles. I'm like, who the fuck plays Yu-Gi-Oh on a console? It's a handheld game. People play Yu-Gi-Oh on
the go.
On the go. Well, it's a handheld game. People play Yu-Gi-Oh like the video game, the Yu-Gi-Oh video games. Like the best one I ever played was the one for the Game Boy Advance. Like it was like Yu-Gi-Oh 2000, the Dark Duel or something like that.
Yeah, I only play the card game, so.
I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh, the handheld game. The digital game. I couldn't get into the actual card game because, I mean, when it came time for me to choose a card game to get into, it was either Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, or Star Wars, or Magic the Gathering, and I chose Star Wars because I like lightsabers.
I still got my cards and still make decks.
Yeah.
I summon Sparkman attack mode.
No. I tell you this much: Yu-Gi-Oh was awesome because of the cartoon.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yu-Gi-Oh was awesome, except every cartoon match was the same thing. Guys like, I have 2,000 life points. Oh, you destroyed me. But wait, I have one trap card. I have 100 life left, and at the expense of doing 50% of that, I can summon the ultimate monster, which destroys you. It's like, come on, man. Every single episode, come on, man. Yes, I watched a lot of Saturday morning cartoons when I was younger.
I think we all did.
Nothing's wrong with that, man. Static Shock. Anyone?
Oh,
Anyone?
man, I remember Static Shock.
Yeah, Static Shock was good.
Static Shock, the animated adventures of Batman, the animated adventures of Superman, Spider-Man on Fox, Batman. Oh man, instead of Warner Brothers just continuously dragging up the corpse of Bruce Wayne, why don't we get Batman Beyond Terry McGinnis? Come on, man. Come on. Yeah. I mean, give Batman a rest.
Well,
please.
I think the reason why, and I gathered this from the one of the episodes of Batman Beyond, when him and Bruce were basically going like they were arguing with one another, and Terry actually asked Bruce like, well, Bruce said something like, yeah, he says, man, yeah, I've seen there were many women that tried to come at me, this and that, whatever. Terry said, what'd you do? He says, I walked over him, and then something happened. And then when they talked again, he's like, you want me to be just like you, just all alone with no one to watch over me or care about me or whatever. And I think that's one thing Bruce is okay with, being a hero, being when he's done it for so long. But Terry doesn't want that. He doesn't want to be just a lone crusader that has no one to be with.
I remember watching the Batman Beyond episode where, maybe it was Justice League Unlimited, where they went into the origins of Terry McGinnis. He's technically...
It was Justice League Unlimited.
Well, they created him to be like, they were trying to recreate another Batman. Like, he's technically the bastard son of Batman, of yep. Bruce Wayne. But the thing is that, like, Terry had a different childhood. He doesn't have, like, the focus, like, the intellectual focus of Bruce Wayne. But, I mean, in terms of just being the next generation Batman, he's pretty damn awesome. And I'm
true.
like,
I would agree.
we need to go, I mean, look, I thought I'd never say this. We need to let the Dark Knight Batman go. Not permanently. Yeah. Maybe in 10 or 15 years, but for the love of God, I mean, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of constantly... Like, we're retreading the same Bruce Wayne and blah, 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 and, I mean...
Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. I feel the same way about when it comes to Wolverine. It's like, that's other X-Men.
I'm glad they killed him off. Look, I sound like Samuel L. Jackson from Time to Kill. Yeah, I killed him, and I hope they burn in hell.
Yeah, there's so many different X-Men members that's just like don't get no screen time anymore. It's like,
well, let's see, they screwed over Cyclops. They killed him like a bitch in that third movie. You didn't even get to see him die. Just like,
he was such a badass in the 90s.
See, my thing is, why not even focus on his brother?
Havoc.
Yes,
or
sorry,
his
brother. Yeah. I mean, I feel the same way KG does. Like, there's so many other X-Men out there that I wanted to actually just see them like bring to light, shed more light. Now I understand Wolverine has like the deepest past you could think of. Like, he really does. Even today, no one really knows like everything that he's done. Even with the comics, no one knows everything.
Yeah. I mean, I like him as a character. It's like, gosh, it's like...
I'm like you. It's like me. First of all, I am getting somewhat tired of seeing or hearing about him, but at the same time, I'm tired of him being misused and not doing the one thing that no comic has done before. I want to see true origins and or something that has not been revealed yet in a
Well, I
movie.
mean, the only way, like, it's kind of like the Hulk, okay? The only way you could have a good Hulk or Wolverine movie, it would have to be rated a hard R. Because basically, like, here's the thing. With Wolverine, the thing about Wolverine is that he is one of the few Marvel characters who's allowed to just be balls to the wall, just straight up murder people in horrific ways. And it's like, that's his thing. And the Hulk is the same way in that, like, reasonably speaking, there's no one who's that strong can bitch slap someone, like backhand someone in the face, and not have their body just explode from the impact. Like, literally, like that. I mean, we need a rated R Hulk movie. We need a rated R Wolverine movie. You know, you can't have, like, it's holding these characters back, trying to pigeonhole them into PG-13 films.
Back to X-Men. Is Rogue dead in the comics?
No, she's married to
Because it's been a while.
no, she's married to the Black Panther.
Oh, because I was saying.
Really?
Yeah, look, listen. Look, it takes a
I thought it would
special
have been Gambit.
I missed that relationship so much.
Look, it takes a special man to deal with a woman who, when she loses control, can cause tsunamis and hurricanes. So, you know, I mean, I tell you, it would be. I'll tell you something. Wherever they went to have their honeymoon, I would not want to be there while they were there because, you know, there were some hurricanes and storms going on. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell's going on around here? This weather is freaky. It's Hawaii and it's snowing.
Yeah,
But I digress.
I had a crush on her in the 90s, probably because of X-Men versus Street Fighter.
I had a crush on her not
and
because
the
of X-Men
cartoon.
vs. Street Fighter, but because she had that awesome mohawk in the 90s.
Yeah.
That awesome white mohawk. I'm like, damn, she is hot.
Yeah,
but
the X-Men cartoon in the 90s, that's still like, oh my god, that's like one of the best.
that's like the
Yeah,
pinnacle of the
it's the
X-Men.
best one.
animated
Even the
series.
new one wasn't that great, but the original,
No, it wasn't.
it's like I wish it would have actually finished.
Yeah.
Yes.
They need to bring that shit back. They need to bring back the X-Men animated series. They need to bring back, well, not that Spider-Man. Like, we grew up liking the Spider-Man animated series, but it wasn't that good. And we're off topic. We'll talk about this after the show.
Yeah.
We've got Triple M has one more topic, and then we'll get to questions.
Yeah. Now, again, we're still on the double standard topic. Well, while we mentioned everything about the AAA side, well, after what happened this week, the indie side has been doing has been doing not so nice thing as well. And oh my gosh, anyone still remembers Project
Don't say it.
Project
Don't say it.
Project Who Cares?
Okay, I'll give you credit for that one. Shout out to Red Knight, of course.
Oh yes. Now, just recent, I haven't went into the forums for the past few days, but I keep hearing there's some people yes there's some forum members over there are actually defending what those indie developers has done just with the
First, we must ask ourselves this question. And I made a post about this. Is it the developer's fault or Namco's fault? Because they're the publisher.
I think it's both. And I'll tell you why it's both. It's Namco's fault because, like, this is business, and I know people say, well, it's about making money. Yeah, but here's the thing. They took people's money in order to make the other versions of this game.
Exactly.
And they took Wii U owners' people's money who specifically checked when they crowdsourced this game. I want it on Wii U. Oh, well, we don't know. Well, damn it, you better make a special edition just for those backers or you are in deep water. So they're like, we sold 1 million units. You better because it's on 4 fucking consoles. Or no, 3. It's on Xbox One, PS4, and PC. You better have sold 1 million units at this
exactly.
point. I mean, if it's on three consoles, you better have sold 1 million. My point is this: you took people's money in order to fund it. It's kind of like everyone remember. Well, you probably don't know about it if you didn't go. But remember when you were in college and like your friends, it would be a late night study session or a late night gaming session if you were a slacker. No, I'm joking. And someone would say, I'm gonna order pizza, and everyone would put in like $5 or $10, and like people would choose what they wanted. You want cheese, you want pepperoni, you want deluxe, whatever. And then they would go and order the pizza, and you think you're gonna get your share, but then like it would be like if only like you had enough money to order like 10 pizzas, only 3 came and they were deluxe, and only certain people got them. That's how it feels. You paid into something, only other people get to enjoy it, and you get jack all about it, and that is wrong.
I agree.
That's theft.
Yeah.
That is
And,
theft.
and some people are like, I mean, let me just go ahead and say this: the videos Zen did about it, I do agree with them. I do agree with them. I'm not gonna completely shun Slightly Mad Studios. I'm not. But at the exact same time, I am pissed off at them because, A, from what I've read about the game's current versions, they're not optimized.
Yeah, they're
They're not
broken pieces of
optimized at
shit.
all. And then here's another thing. Since when can you guys recall a developer coming out and saying something terrible about a game before release? Like, for example, to me, if, first of all, the game doesn't have a release date, it doesn't have one yet. You just released the other 2 versions you put the focus on. And you're going to come out and say, before the game has an official release date, and no one asked you for an update, yeah, we're only able to get up to 720p, 23 frames per second. I didn't ask you for an update because to me, you're not finished.
Exactly.
So unless you wanted to release this shitty game to get it off your table, there was no reason for you to come out and give that update because I'm pretty sure the people that made the Master Chief Collection, they come out and say, well, we promised you 1080p 60 frames per second, but one of these games we ain't gonna be able to do that. They didn't do that
Well,
before release because they be hurting themselves. But to
here's
me,
the
to come
issue.
out and say that, you cannot expect a good reaction from those that back the game and you know which one's back. Why would you come out and do that to yourself?
Well, here's the thing that gets me. Not only did they take people's money to fund this game getting made for other consoles and on PC, but they also they also are like, well, it's running great, it's running great, it's running great for a year. I'm like, motherfucker, you apparently have been running this for a year. So either it was running great then and it's not running great now, or you knew it wasn't running great then and you were just saying it was running great so that you could take people's money to make this game. And now that you have a publisher, Namco Bandai, you're like, oh, well, we don't, we got some protection. But you know what? That's okay, Slightly Mad. That's all right. Because you know what? I have a gaming PC, and I'm not buying your fucking game. I'm not buying shit from you. Because, it has nothing to do with the developers. It's that I don't like people who do bad stuff in business. Because when you take someone's money, you're entering into an agreement. It's a contract. It's a contract, and you're not delivering on it. And here's the thing: I don't do business with people who do shady shit. Okay, I've been in business. It will be 5 years this year. I will have broken the 5-year mark. Oh. And I'll tell you right now. If I did business with people like you, Slightly Mad Studios, I would have been out of business 3 years ago.
The thing is with me, the cherry on top of the cake that did for me is when, dude, you're speaking for your company. You're basically doing PR, and then the sick joke that you had to make that, oh, we just hate Nintendo users. I was like, you just effed it all up for you.
And see, another thing is that once again, this is Nintendo. Because I'm pretty sure Nintendo's watching. Once again, Nintendo said, "Well, gave somebody a chance. Could have done really well because to me, the game would have been most successful on the Wii U because there is no racing sim. There is none
No competition
whatsoever.
whatsoever.
It would have had no competition, zero. That is guaranteed success. It may not get a million copies the first month or even first 3 months, but over the rest of the lifespan of the system, people will be like, I want to play a racing game in the Wii U, a real life like a racing simulator. They wouldn't even have a choice. It would just be Project Cars. And
Yep.
then on top of that, you shit it. down Nintendo's throat. It's like, okay, at this point, even Nintendo's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that this whole Namco thing with Pokken Fighters may be one of the last things they do with Namco. In my opinion, I think it is. Yeah, I could be completely wrong, but
Hey,
I
forgot
think
about
both
Project
Namco and
Treasure.
Spider-Man are at fault for this. I think Nintendo's like, well, even though there was their game and it was slated for our system, they pulled a Ubisoft.
No, I think they're gonna have to put it on the Wii U or at least a Nintendo console because Pokemon is like Nintendo's thing. Like that. I mean, they have exclusivity agreements with that. So I mean,
No, I'm
either
saying,
they
but
keep it.
after Pokken Fighters, I can't see Nintendo wanting to do business with
Um,
Namco anymore. Not
I
much.
think they'll hold them at arm's length. Because because Namco Bandai has been acting a little, but I mean, there was a thing done by the gaming historian where he talked about how Namco basically was connected with the whole anti-piracy lawsuit and how Tengen Games and Namco were interconnected in that whole Atari Tengen Games stealing Nintendo's code and doing unlicensed carts. How all that shit is tied in with Namco. So really, there's a lot of there's history there. There's bad history, good history, indifferent history. Um, but yeah, I mean, Namco Bandai, they can do whatever. Look, they can do whatever they want to. The Vita is dead. They can release games on it, but it has an install base. I'm going to be liberal. It has an install base of 13 million, and they're ignoring entirely a system that has an install base of 50 million, which is fucking stupid. Then you've got the Wii U, which while it's probably cracked 10 million at this point, maybe 10.1, 10.5, 10.2. Wii U owners buy games. we buy a lot of games. So, I mean, you can make money on this system if you put games on the system. Good quality games. Not shit. Not, well, the game looks great, but it's missing all the DLC. Or the game has high quality, but we're going to charge you more than other people who are getting the same game. So, whatever.
I also wanted to say this about this whole ordeal. Before this whole ordeal, I was still neutral to about Slightly Matched Studios, but after. Even the whole when they partnered up with Namco to be the publisher for that for their game, even that I was like, that could have been handled better. That was like kind of first mistake. I let them slide. But then after this whole ordeal, which I really thought that they could have handled it so much better than what has happened, my neutrality for them just went on the negative side. Now, again, what the doctor said about Zen's video about this, I am still on the negative side with Slightly Mad Studios. But at this point, it's what they do afterwards can make a difference.
I don't see them digging themselves out of this hole. Because they're getting third party arrogant now, and third party arrogant, you don't come back.
But then I was just saying they have to be at least humble about.
They aren't humble though. That's the thing. They're getting third party arrogant.
Yeah. Now the second thing I wanted to say on Red Fox side about the whole business. Zen specifically said that these Slightly Mad Studio is a startup company, and I made a comment about that and said, startup company. Okay, Zen. Here's the thing with me. As even a big conglomerate or a startup company with me, if you start good, I'll do business with you. If you start shady, I'm going to have to. You're going to make me ask questions about you, or completely not not even looking at your direction. start a company or not, if you start out bad, you are bad to me.
Well, I mean, the thing that people don't understand about business is that business is about relationships. Everyone thinks it's just about making money. It's about relationships. People want to feel good spending their money with you. And I personally I would not want to spend my money with a company that would take my money, say they're going to deliver a certain product, and then say, oh, well, we had technical issues. We can't do it. I'm like, well, then.
Why'd you promise then?
No, if you're going to take my money and you're not going to deliver, then you either need to give me a refund or we're going to have a problem. But that's just me. We have to get to these questions.
Oh, my second one, or the second part, is about Igarashi's bloodstained ritual of the night. This was going pretty well. Even even the whole stretch goal for the Wii U, I didn't care to mind, even though it was much pricier than the other. But hey, the whole thing about difficult to run on the Wii U and using the Unreal Engine, which that was kind of the first red flag for me, because I'm like, why would you make why would you use an Unreal Engine game that is specifically made for three-dimensional games? You're making it for a 2.5 game. But heck, I digress. But then, just recently, the whole collector's edition thing about the whole the whole collector's edition statue, which they're going to do it for the PS4 and the Xbox One.
You mean Mighty Number 9, right?
Yes, the Mighty Number 9. Oh crap!
They're doing stuff because they feel that that's 30 million install base, and the gamers on there should care about it, but they don't. And then in that case, they feel like, well, even though it's not something they're looking forward to, there are enough people on there that maybe 1 out of every 3 or 1 out of every 10 will get it, because there will still be 3 million sales. But
even though the audience for that type of game is not on those consoles, but whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
The audience, I guarantee the highest selling version of Mighty Number 9 will be on the 3DS and the Wii U.
Yeah.
No question about it. Because the people who own the PS4 and the Xbox One don't want no kiddie game like Mighty Number 9. But I digress. It's time to get to these questions. The first one is from Wonder Dean. I don't know who Wonder Dean is. First time questionnaire. Do you think there is still room for the Wii U to get stronger sales, or is it as successful as it's going to get? Everyone give. Well, there's only 4 of us, so everyone give their take.
I go first. It's still time. I mean, you gotta think about how this industry is right now. It's like very, very unstable. So it could easily be that the PS4 might sell as top 25 million, and that's it. While Wii U, it might end up selling 30 million. But we don't know how this industry is going to go. It's very unstable, and as long as Nintendo continues the momentum of Wii U with like console exclusives and good word of mouth and the Nintendo Directs, things gonna turn around slowly but surely. It's like the SNES Genesis back then. For a long time, Genesis was kicking SNES's butt until Donkey Kong Country came out in 1994. So it took 3 years for Nintendo to surpass Sega.
No, I think it was Link to the Past started it.
Yeah.
Link to the Past started it, and then they just dropped bomb after bomb after bomb after bomb, exclusives that you couldn't get on anything else. And Sega was like, shit.
Yeah.
We can't. I mean, what is this shit?
Who wants
to go next?
It's all about consistency.
Yeah. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
Let's see. Wonder Dean. If you're going to look into the past, at least for the life cycle of a console. Now the Wii, it was usually around 5 years, but the Wii kind of stretched it for a year longer. So, if Nintendo is actually willing enough to keep the longevity of the Wii U for even 6 years, like the Wii did, there could be a chance that not chance. There could be still room for the Wii U to get stronger sales, and as of right now, this generation, it's actually much more. Um, Crap! The words just escaped me. Uh, Basically, it's not set in stone like previous gen. Right now, so many things is going on that things might tip over for one of these console or the other.
Okay, Ken, you want to go next?
Oh, was it again?
What do you think there is still room for the Wii U to get stronger sales, or is it as successful as it's going to get from Wonder Dean?
This is not me being a fanboy because I'm not, but I definitely think the Wii U is going to increase in sales. Am I saying it's going to, completely overcome the PS4 in the next 2 years? I don't
No,
think so. I made that prediction before, but way early in the life cycle of the Wii U, but that wasn't the case. And so I can admit that basically I don't think that's going to happen. But I do think it's going to become more successful. I do think it's going to generate some very good sales, especially going forward. So yeah, I think it's going to pick up. It's not at its maximum potential yet, so I'm not going to pretend that it is. Some may think that, but no, that's not what's happening here.
Nah, okay. Guess it's my turn. Basically, Wonder Dean. I don't think it's as successful as it's going to get. I agree with everyone here. I think the sales are going to increase as Nintendo adds more exclusives that are like must-have. Like Splatoon is. I mean, hell, people in the UK stole a damn truck full of the thing in order to in order to get the game. Yeah, there were some. They're going to sell some stuff illicitly, but really, there's some people stole that thing just to get the damn game early. So. I mean, I really do think that the Wii U's best days are ahead of it. I think the sales are only going to go up. I think they're going to maintain their momentum. And I think that really the sales are really going to go up once Xenoblade Chronicles X drops. And if they ever announce when Zelda Wii U is going to drop, it's really going to explode.
Yeah.
Because there are people who will cut off their left arm for Zelda.
heck, I remember when the Wii U was released, there was some truckload of Wii U was actually stolen, but because the Wii U was not a hot commodity for a long after a long period of time, those stolen Wii U just got just popped up back out of nowhere.
Okay. The next question is from Phantom the Sixth Man, or Phantom Sixth Man. Do you think we will see any third-party exclusive surprises for Wii U at E3? What do you guys think?
This year?
Yeah,
This year's E3?
Yeah.
I probably don't think so.
Okay.
I think it'd be maybe like two max.
All right. Dr. Feelgood?
What's the question again?
Do you think we will see any third-party exclusive surprises for Wii U at E3?
Third party exclusives or first party?
Third party.
Not third party. I would say second party. Kind of
Second party.
platinum. Yeah, I think we will see that.
I'm gonna go
Some
against
more,
all you
exclusive
guys.
indie games. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go against all you guys. I think that we might see. I think we might see some surprising third-party exclusives for the Wii U at E3. I think we're gonna see more about Fire Emblem Cross, Shin Megami Tensei. I know that's second party, but I mean that's from a third-party developer. They're using Nintendo's IPs mixed with their own IP, but still, that's the third-party developer doing it. I think we might see some surprises that are Wii U exclusive at E3, but it's going to be from Japanese third parties. I don't think we're going to see shit from the big Western third parties.
No.
If you're waiting for something big from a Western third party for a Nintendo system, you're going to be waiting. Don't hold your breath for a long time.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. This next question comes from Anderson Archilla. Which is more baffling, that Nintendo's partnerships with DNA, Universal Studios, certain third parties are considered baby steps by many, or the implication that getting certain features on their consoles would be considered an actual giant step forward? I guess I'll answer this one first. I think it's baffling that people think Nintendo partnership with DNA, Universal Studios, and third parties is considered baby steps. Like, people saying that Nintendo getting features on their consoles, like, here's what people who don't understand Nintendo console history, like, Nintendo has always been kind of like, they've always tried to do cutting edge stuff. The NES, that's right, the NES in Japan had an attachment that never came out, but they were working on it, that basically added a modem to it, and you could like go on the pre-internet internet and like do trades and like check in with your bank and stuff like that. The SNES had satellite TV in Japan, so like you could download games and you could have events that happened at certain times of the day with like little games that happened in that game and on the system that like it was. I mean, this was really ahead of its time. The N64 had the disk drive in Japan that had internet, and like before internet was really a big thing. I mean, people like are like, well, Nintendo needs to get with the times. They tried it back in the day before the technology was perfected, and they felt like, okay, we need to focus on what we're really good at and wait for this technology to get to the point where we can really do what we need to do with it. It's not that Nintendo is behind the times. They're biding their time for the perfect time to jump in.
That was rather explanatory level of explanation of an answer, which I quite agree.
So
yeah, especially the whole they're biding their time, which I'm not sure why people are not seeing that or they're completely blind about it. But hey, maybe I'll just being a fanboy, a Nintendo fanboy.
Like I mean, like okay, I'll give you a perfect example. Splatoon doesn't have voice chat. Boo-hoo, it doesn't have voice chat. I guarantee you that the next iteration of Splatoon will have voice chat, but it's going to be Nintendo's brand of voice chat. Like, if you start to say a cuss word and someone like reports you, you'll get banned. And I wouldn't be mad about that. I wouldn't be like, oh man, I can't believe they banned that person. I'm like, I'm good. I'm glad they banned him.
Yes.
Because frankly speaking, I don't want people like Splatoon is too much fun to be marred by people cussing and calling folks out there. So anyone else want any last question before we move on to the next one? No? Okay.
You pretty much eclipsed our thoughts on that answer.
Okay, what's this obsession/demand to have x86 architecture in the next Nintendo console? Why do people want to give third parties more of what they want when they aren't doing anything worthwhile with it? Anderson Archilla. Who wants to get... I'm going to give Dr. Feelgood. You want in on this?
Oh, what was the question again?
What's this obsession/demand to have x86 architecture in the next Nintendo console? Why do people want to give third parties more of what they want when they aren't doing anything worthwhile with it?
Dude, what I've come to expect is that us type of gamers, we have been outnumbered by the modern age gamer. They think that making gaming more in line with PC is going to make everything better, and the game's going to be more modern. I mean, more optimized. It's like, but what you're actually giving them is a reason to not have to optimize. Right now, they're looking for a reason to never have to deal with exclusives. Only have the ability to put everything across everything, no matter how shitty it is.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, you should not think that one feature, one engine can solve all the problems in gaming, because that would never be the case. It would never be the case. Genesis had the whole blast processing thing going on, and it actually had like better sound chip in it. But that didn't stop the Super Nintendo from still making better games.
I disagree with that sound chip.
Sound chip, yeah, I disagree.
Yeah,
That sound chip. that sound chip from the Sega Genesis was like 1989 technology, which was maybe good for the day. Nintendo waited like a year and a half later and had Sony when they actually were a good sound entertainment company make the sound chip for the SNES, and that sound chip for the SNES like pulled down its pants and shit on the sound chip for the Sega Genesis. Generally speaking, now there were some composers, some music arrangers on for like who worked on Sega hardware that could get that's like Yuzo Koshiro, Sega's internal sound team.
Yep.
I mean, those dudes could really make that sound chips not sound like shit, but
Yeah.
most of them were not.
Comic Zone.
Oh yeah, that game. Oh, that game's hard as hell, but it's fun.
Yeah.
I'll even give an honorable mention with the music with the sound score with Road Rash or Road Rash 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyone else want to jump in on this before we move on to the next question?
I want to say this. This whole thing about everything needs to be, or Nintendo needs to have the x86 architecture. I have the feeling that, or let me just say, it brings up a word that I have mixed feelings with it, and it's called singularity. Everything is the same, and I'm kind of having this feeling of duality about this because it's kind of like what I'm seeing in the vehicle or car industry, which I think Dr. Field is going to know where I'm going with this. But the latest, I think, was the 2005 was it 2004 Mitsubishi Lancer, how they made the model, or how made the model look, and then after that point, at least the front side, and then after that point, when that Lancer came out, I've seen almost every other company that does sedans also have that same bloody front model of the Lancer, and I'm like, what happened to the uniqueness of these other companies? Like, it just disappeared. And then my sister also pointed out to me that the backside of most of these models are actually copying the Subaru. Crap, I forgot which model it was. But it was featured in Need for Speed Most Wanted, and I was like, when my sister told me that, I looked at all these other models of other companies, and I'm seeing the same bloody thing.
I know what you're saying, and I can somewhat understand where you're coming from. I kind of disagree with the sentiment that it's like the car industry. I think the last thing we need is more of an excuse for third parties to just, like, the reason x86 architecture is so big is because basically third parties can just downport shit from the developer PC to consoles. The problem is that we don't need more of an excuse for third parties to not optimize anything, just throw it on something and just put it out there. Like, I know for a fact I'm gonna get Fallout 4. I'm gonna get it, and I know it's gonna be a broken piece of shit. I feel horrible. I feel terrible. It's like Bethesda is like that chick that you call at 2 o'clock in the morning and you don't like, but for some reason you call her and invite her over or go to her place and then feel dirty afterwards. You're like, man, I can't believe I gotta stop going seeing this chick. Like, that's how, I mean, I feel bad about it. That's enough. It's time to move on to the next question. We gotta move on.
I also wanted to say this. Speaking about the whole architecture thing. Also, the Wii U has the architecture basically that was an offshoot of the Wii, which was an offshoot of the GameCube, which the GameCube also kind of had a similar architecture with the 360, which back then the 360 had most third-party games running at best average or even quite good compared to the PS2. So for me, I'm like, developers are saying they don't want to do the tried and true thing that was working for them 2 gens ago, or even last gen, but just want to lazy up and just port the darn thing.
Well, you have to remember, most developers nowadays are rooted in PC. Like they're PC gamers first. Everything else, they're PC developers first. They're developing their stuff off of PC. PC people, developers, they use technology as a crutch, right? Like they have to have the newest engine, the next best thing, like that. That's the nature of their business.
Right.
Consoles, by the time the PS4 hit the market, it was already dated hardware. Same thing with the Wii U and the Xbox One. By the time a console hits the market, it's dated hardware. That doesn't mean it's not good hardware. That doesn't mean it can't get the job done. That doesn't mean you can't get some wonderful games out of it.
Exactly.
But it's already dated. But it's time to move on to the next question. This is from Gilleste Grant or Gilleste Grant. I'm sorry if I butchered your name, dude. Is this in correct order? Sony is dominating, Microsoft is trailing, and Nintendo is failing. In your minds, how do you see us looking back at this current generation of consoles? I don't think that is the correct order at all. Sony is dominating. Not really. I mean, sales-wise, they're dominating. In terms of profit made on their products,
not really. But
I think that laugh answered the question. Microsoft is trailing. Microsoft's Xbox is trailing. Microsoft is not in danger of going bankrupt anytime soon. And Nintendo is failing. The Wii U isn't doing as well as Nintendo would like. Is it failing? Let me tell you something. I own Nintendo's most failed hardware console. It's called the Virtual Boy. It sold less than 2 million after a year on the market. The Wii U has already beaten that. It beat that in the first 3 months where it hit like 3 million. So, yeah. I think people need to put things into perspective before they open their mouths and type stuff. Like write an article where they're like, well, the Wii U is failing. Not really. It's just underperforming. There's a difference. Anyone else want to get in that before we move on to the next question?
You know, I wanted to say this. There was an interesting thing that Razorfist said in the Hate Bit podcast of the E3 damage report of last year, and he mentioned about the I forgot which generation this is, but he mentioned about the console wars between the N64 and the PS2, which the PlayStation 2 sold the most.
Yep.
Yeah, no denying that. But then when it comes to ratio of the games that were sold by a console, the N64 floored the PlayStation 4 because the ratio for the N64 games was much higher, greatly higher than the PlayStation 2. So to say that generation that the PlayStation 2 win by a mile, like Razorfist said, not really.
It boils down to profit. If Nintendo sold one console per year, but that console was selling for like $100 million, they still, and people in the games were like $10,000 each. If they sold like 5 of those consoles a year, or 5 of those consoles every month, and like 500 games for each of those consoles, they still, it boils down to how much money you make off of what you sell, not how much you sell. You know, it boils down to profit. Our next question is from Gilleste Grant. What would you guys like to see in Nintendo's next handheld device? I would like to see a higher resolution screen. What's yours?
That's acceptable. I can't really. With me, I really don't. Yeah. a person like me, I don't ask if you have something that is that is good enough that is good enough for me. I'll take it. But asking for such stuff, I'm not in that.
I would like I can't tell you what I would like to see in Nintendo's next handheld because I mean, I can't tell you what Nintendo's going to do. They're unpredictable. I don't know what their next handheld's going to be. I just know it's going to have Pokemon, Legend of Zelda, Mario. It's going to have Nintendo games on it, and I'm probably going to buy it day one. That's all I can tell you.
The only thing I can actually ask for is make the games playable, make the games fun.
Yeah, but it's Nintendo, so I mean, we already know it's going to be playable. It's going to be fun. So, I mean, shit.
Yeah, the thing is, I have to ask that because after this generation, is that really too much to ask these days?
No, I don't have to ask because it's Nintendo. I mean, I know this sounds kind of fanboyish, but I've never, like, generally speaking, like, even though I don't like all of Nintendo's franchise, for example, I hate Animal Crossing. I don't care much for Mario Party. But generally speaking, most of what Nintendo has that I like. I mean, they put it out and I like it, so I can't get too mad. This question comes from the YouTube channel. It's from a dude from Player Essence, Titan Gaming GameCube. I have a couple of questions to ask. first, isn't it kind of upsetting that people are supporting Bloodstained the Ritual when the developer hit a stretch goal for a version of the game when all the others had only needed $500,000 to hit, whereas the Wii U version needed 6 times the amount? But we already answered that, so okay. The second one, why do people defend Sony to the point where they make up excuses for them? I think Dr. Feelgood answered it earlier. People spent $400 on this console. They have to, like, when you're spending almost $500,000 after all is said and done, because you buy the console, you buy an extra controller, that's $60. You buy 1 or 2 games, you buy the PSN Plus so you can play online multiplayer. That's like $600. You spent $600. It damn well better do something. Shit. look, it better not just sit there and just look at you. You know, even though there are people that have like 1 or 2 games for their PS4 and nothing else. This next one comes from Gillespie Grant. Let's face it, gaming is at a standstill. Better graphics and remastered aren't going to cut it much longer. I think devices like the Oculus Rift will reinvigorate gaming. Do you?
No. It won't. What's going to reinvigorate gaming is what Nintendo's doing right now. They're making games about fun and gameplay, not graphics and realism.
Yep.
Like that's it. Putting on a damn 3D visor to game. Yeah, like that's not going to change gaming as we know it. To me, that's just gonna flop just like the Virtual Boy did. Because honestly, it's not something we're ready for. It may be cool. This is my opinion. I mean, it may be cool. It may be a good thing to do. It may be cool to try out. But as far as gaming, and taking over, that's not going to happen right now. Because people are bitching about motion controls. How can you not want to accept the Wii remote, but you're ready for Oculus Rift?
Yeah, well, here's the thing that gets me about these people who keep on saying virtual reality is the next big thing. Dr. Feelgood will tell you. We remember in the early 90s when virtual reality was starting. They're like, man, you put this shit on your face, and it's like you're in the game. That shit didn't work. It looked ridiculous. The games. And here's the thing. You notice all of these people hype it up Oculus Rift. They're playing other games that were not meant to be played in first person.
And
like
that's
ever. And they're getting mad. And they're like, I'm like, look, first of all, if you're gonna have this peripheral that enables you to play a game in the first person, why don't you make a game built around that concept instead of taking a good game and pigeonholing it into your bullshit? I don't think the Oculus Rift is going to reinvigorate gaming. What's going to reinvigorate gaming is that you're like basically all of these plates that are spinning with remasters and rehashes and this game is 1080p but plays like shit are going to crash, and people are going to see, wait, I want to have fun when I play games and fuck graphics. And when that happens, you're going to see better games. You're going to see, you know, people who understand the basics of making video games will be standing, and people who use technology as a crutch will fall to the wayside. Not to mention, John Carmack is working on the Oculus Rift. That fucker wears glasses, and he wants people to put more shit on their face. And that's it. I'm done.
Unless he's nearsighted.
You should know better. If you wear glasses, you don't want more shit on your face. Okay?
No.
You do not. You don't want more shit on your face. The next question is: Nintendo has to be working on an Oculus-like device. Would you be surprised if it's Nintendo's somewhat recent announcement of NX would be just that or hoping it's something else? Nintendo is not working on an Oculus Rift device. Look, they got burnt with that Virtual Boy. They ain't going down that road again. Okay.
Not very soon.
Nintendo, the only way I'd say Nintendo would do an Oculus Rift-like device is if they could get it to work perfectly. And the problem is that even though Oculus Rift is better than what we had in the 90s, it's still not very good. And the games that are being made for the Oculus Rift basically boil down to, I mean, they've already pretty much admitted this shit's going to be mostly used for first-person porn.
That kind of sucks, actually.
Not that there's anything wrong with it. I mean, if that's what you need, but, I mean...
Yeah.
Someone's wife is going to walk in on them with that Oculus Rift, and they're going to see some shit they don't want to see. And it's going to be... I want the Oculus Rift to come out so that we can have these articles where people get caught doing that. And getting embarrassed. It's going to be funny. Let's face it, this one is another one from Gillis Grant. Let's face it, Nintendo's E3 has to win, quote-unquote, again, especially this time, to stop falling into irrelevancy in most gamers' minds. What do you think will happen if they don't succeed? I don't think they aren't going to succeed, because literally what they did last year, they're replicating with Splatoon this year. They dropped Splatoon, they dropped Mario Kart. Mario Kart was a sales success. They walked into E3 with a bombshell of a game, and then they just blew everyone's minds. I think they're going to do the same thing again this year, because no one could do it like Nintendo.
I will say this. Actually, I wanted to save this until another podcast, but I say this. Now, even if Nintendo will win E3 2 years or even 3 years in a row, there's going to be a point that they have nothing more to show. That coming year that they have to not power down. Crap.
Wind down.
Yes, they have to wind down, because you can't win them all every single time.
But damn it, you can try. So I think they're gonna go for it, and I think this year's E3 is gonna be even better than last year's E3, because Nintendo was experimenting the year before. And they were trying out a formula last year, and I think now that they've gotten the formula, they've tweaked that formula. They're gonna drop some bombs. Because here's the thing: that direct they had earlier last month, that was shit that they just want to get out the way. They're gonna drop something big at E3, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. It's gonna be big. And I'm not saying that just as a Nintendo gamer. I'm just saying it's going to be big. This next one is once again from Gillespie Grant. Are too many multiplats ruining gaming, or at least contributing to it? Are consoles losing their identity with this money grab tactic? Who is to blame? Console makers or devs, corporations?
Everyone.
I think it's more console makers. And I think it's more console makers, because basically console maker,
yeah, that would be the reason to open the floodgates, and then the developers and corporations are going to have at it.
Let me put it this way. It's cheaper for a company to make a lower level game that doesn't require a huge amount of resources and put it on like 2 or 3 consoles and PC, than to like it's riskier for them to put something exclusively just on one console. The problem is that like Sony and Microsoft don't really have strong first party. They aren't. Sony is not an in-house developer. They have studios that they've bought and grown, but they aren't really known for their in-house development. Microsoft buys studios. They don't really grow them. And the only company that really has their own in-house studio, it takes them a while to get up to speed, and that's Nintendo. Nintendo is a first-party developer on top of being a console manufacturer, handheld manufacturer. So it's like, but it takes them. I mean, it took about. Remember that first year the Wii U was out, and we had like a summer of nothing. Like we had Lego City Undercover and nothing else for like 6-7 months. Maybe a virtual console release here and there. That was brutal. That hurt. Or not. I mean, whatever makes you happy.
No, to me, if you, I will say this: the Wii U may have had a drop when it came to their own high quality, high end games,
Yeah.
AAA titles, as people like to call them. But as far as like games that were actually worthwhile playing, I'm not talking about indie games either. But they had games to play. They really did. So when people say like we had no games to play, just say they had no games that you are interested in. But me, I like Lego City Undercover. I loved Rayman Legends. I liked Zombie U, and a few other games that came out. I actually did like them all. So it may not have had Mario Kart and Smash Brothers, but it definitely had a lot of games worth playing. Love
I
that
agree
game.
with you with Lego City Undercover, but I remember Lego City Undercover was supposed to be followed by Rayman Legends, and Rayman Legends, no, it was supposed to be preceded by Rayman Legends, and they moved it back 6 months. Those bastards at Ubisoft. Sorry, I'm still pissed off about that, because I pre-ordered that game and paid for it, and I canceled my pre-order. I was like, they ain't getting my money.
And wasn't that on your birthday too?
Yeah, it was supposed to come out on my birthday. I was like, I'm gonna go get it. I had the game pre-ordered. I had Prime, so it was gonna come on my birthday. And those Ubisoft can go jump in the lake. What do you guys think of the fan game Mother 4? People are saying it looks like a true successor to the Mother series, but its unofficial nature makes me reluctant to put faith in it. Dude,
What?
you don't have to, dude. It's not the successor to Mother series, but that doesn't mean you can't have fun playing it. I mean, I play tons of RPGs that are spiritual successors, and they're just a nice little diversion. I mean, when it's badly made, but Mother 4 looks like it's going to be well made, so whatever.
People are saying it looks like a true successor to the Mother series.
It looks really good. It looks like a fusion between Earthbound and Mother 3.
All right. I can admit that it looks like a true success, like a successor to Mother games. But since this is basically fan made, so I'm probably not going to see Nintendo's going to say or do anything about it.
No, I mean, they didn't say anything about the Mother 3 translation. You can play that game and play it translated, and it's really awesome. I have played the translation. It's a really good game, but I still like the original Earthbound better. I'm sorry.
Speaking about the whole Mother 3 translation, unless you actually advertise that thing on Miiverse, then yes, you're gonna get banned or something like that.
Yeah. This next question comes from Phantom 6 Man. Watching the gamers at large live reaction was the only way I made it all the way through Sony's presentation last year.
You know
Thank
what?
you very much for that, man, because that was like a long, well,
Yeah, it was.
You know what? I should have done that myself.
Yeah, I'm literally going to take a nap before that presentation later on this month. I'm going to have to take a nap because I know it's going to put me to sleep. Like, because Sony bores me. I'm sorry. Sony just, their press conferences bore the, because, I mean, like, I keep in mind that most of the shit I'm looking at are multi-plat, so I can get it on my PC. The exclusives aren't impressive to me. Now, I know some people love Uncharted and God of War and whatever the hell else Sony has that's an exclusive, but I'm like, nah. It's meh. It's a meh game to me. So those are meh games to me. To quote Reggie Fils-Aimé, I look at these games and I say meh. I'm allowed to say meh. So they're meh games to me. So yeah, I will definitely have to take a nap before I watch it because if I don't, because it's at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I will be asleep. No, it's at 10.
You
It's
know
at
what?
10,
I actually took a nap before Sony's presentation last year. Even
and it
that,
still puts you to sleep.
jeez.
If you have insomnia, watch Sony's E3 presentation last year. It'll knock you out. It's like listening to the dude from Learning to Paint from back in the day, the white hippie with the big afro.
Oh, come on, that's low blow.
No, that dude was awesome. He had the most soothing and calming voice I've ever heard. He's like, put some trees in the corner. This tree's all alone. You give him some friends. He was awesome. That dude was awesome. I forgot his name, but he was awesome. Our next question is from Wonder Dean. Are you guys satisfied with Nintendo's current efforts in entertainment outside of video games? The Pikmin shorts, the deal with Universal Studios, or would you like them to make a stronger push? I know this is going to sound bad, but I want to see Nintendo make... I want to see a return of a Legend of Zelda animated series, but a good one. I don't want to see, excuse me, princess.
No, not that one. Yeah,
I want to see a return to the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Hey, paisanos!
To the Mario!
Swing
Captain
your
Balbano.
arms from side to side.
I want to return to those types of things, like Nintendo, because that's how Nintendo can increase their visual appeal. Now, Universal Studios and Pikmin shorts is helping, but they really need a Saturday morning cartoon. Even though we don't have Saturday morning cartoons anymore, so it'd have to be like on Cartoon Network or something like that. And Sega's doing it, so why not Nintendo? Nintendo could do better.
I wouldn't mind seeing them return back to like comic book series. Like remember that I think it was Super Mario Adventures. That was a pretty good one.
Yeah, the one in Germany was off the chain though.
Yeah, we need a return of that. I think because the Sonic comic book series still going strong, and Mega Man I think has one now.
Heck, I would like to see a rerun of F-Zero GP Legend.
And also, don't forget, there's another one too. Udon Comic Street Fighter. That was
don't get me started. Speaking of comics,
I like it.
Speaking of comics, this next one is from Phantom 6 Man, and it actually segues nicely into comics. Have you seen Batman Brave and the Bold? I really like Aquaman in that show. If they make an Aquaman movie, I think they should use that version. You know, I wish they did. I wish they did use that version, but unfortunately, we're getting Khal Drogo, the guy who plays the same role in every damn movie he's in, and it's all dark and gritty, and it's directed by Zack Snyder. So, I prepare to be disappointed. People repeat like a mantra, Wii U isn't selling. But I went to Best Buy after Black Friday, and the only Wii U merchandise left was hoary screen protectors. Do people in Paris share a common ancestor? Certain people do. We have a question here for Triple M from the same person. It's do you think Nintendo doesn't make Nintendo World Stores available outside of New York to have better control and avoid Black Friday massacres like the kind that happened at Walmart and other stores?
You know, I really hadn't thought of it that way. That's also kind of a control that Nintendo might be doing as well. But then, when you look back into history before what Nintendo was, since as a gaming company, okay, right now, if you compare Nintendo with Sony and Microsoft are like a conglomerate of a company, while Nintendo is actually still relatively small, again, compared to Sony and Microsoft.
Yep.
But I think there's a when you look back Nintendo's history before before they became a gaming company, you would kind of understand why Nintendo kind of hesitant to grow, because look what's happening to Sony right now. Seems that they've
Yeah.
grown so large that the size of the company, they can't hang it on for very much longer. And I'm like, I'm trying to remember back since when Sony was this large, because I think it was before the 80s that they were also that they weren't as large as they are today, but
But they're still pretty damn small compared to other companies. They're
rather
still, although they've been. See, here's the thing: people like when Nintendo was not meeting their revenue, their profit projections in those 2 years where people were saying they posted losses, they were losing money. They were also growing, and when you're spending money to grow your business, that's actually a good thing. So whatever.
Yeah, how many buildings they had to close recently?
I think they bought some new buildings actually,
Yeah, I know.
and constructed new studios and built a new headquarters and moved into a bigger building.
No, intelligence
Other
systems guys on
companies are
buildings.
shutting down studios and selling buildings off and firing people. We won't mention them because that would be that would be shooting a dead horse and running it over. This one is from Wonder Dean. Splatoon Saturday morning cartoon, anyone? Yes!
Yeah.
Put it on Nickelodeon. Put it on Nickelodeon.
Yeah. and the thing is, I'm not sure. I think it was the doctor that actually showed us a manga that's happening in Japan right now. Actually, that manga was out since before. I think it's since last year, and only now we get to see it. So I would be
What can I
surprised.
say? But Nintendo doesn't know how to advertise. Any Nintendo series you want to see a resurgence that aren't F-Zero, Metroid, or any other that people are constantly whining about? Custom Robo.
Oh, you know what?
You got
No.
one?
You know what? I'm going to keep my comment about custom robo for next podcast. But yeah,
Yo,
any
Dr. Feelgood, you got one?
What?
Any Nintendo series you want to see a resurgence that isn't F-Zero, Metroid, or any other that people are constantly whining about?
Nintendo IP resurgence.
Yep.
I mean, in all honesty, just Wave Race.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And bring back the sarcastic announcer from the N64. Oh, that's great! You won. Yeah. It's like that guy was awesome.
yeah, I got one. It's the same game that I mentioned a few podcasts back, which is um um the the mysterious Muramasa Castle.
Dude, that game sucks. Why do you want? They released that game on the Virtual Console. It sucks.
Actually, it does not suck. You just
Yes,
suck.
it does. It sucks. It's Legend of Zelda with a time limit, and not in a good way.
I got one, and he needs a proper sequel. Golden Sun.
It already has a proper sequel. It's called Dark Dawn.
Oh no, please don't.
It's called Golden Sun, Lost Age, Dark Dawn. It's an entire trilogy. Come on, man.
I like the first two, but the third one never happened.
Well, Dark Dawn wasn't terrible. It just wasn't as good as the first two. Actually, it wasn't as good as the first one. The first Golden Sun was awesome. And because I hated that they made me switch and play as Felix.
Yeah.
Because I spent all that time fighting against Felix. Why do I have to play as Felix?
Yeah.
Okay. This next isn't really a question, but I'll allow it. The only people not making money off the PS Vita is Sony. Idea Factory, Atlas, and Nippon Ichi are thriving on it. If you can't make money off your own product, yet others can, you have a problem.
Nippon Ichi!
Yeah, you just said what I've been saying for years, but people call me a Sony hater. I never paid too much attention to frame rate, but I noticed that a lot of the games during the 6th gen were 60 frames per second. Hell, some N64 games like F-Zero X were 60 frames per second. Now it's a miracle for a game to achieve 30 frames per second. It's not an issue of power of programming, isn't it? Yes, you're right,
Yes,
because
definitely programming.
developers are lazy bastards nowadays.
Yep.
Like I remember Rogue Squadron was 360p, 60 frames per second on the N64, and if you put the expansion card in, it went to 480p, 60 frames per second. Solid. Solid.
Remember this though, Red Fox. 30 frames per second is a cinematic experience.
Good Lord. Because we are lazy bastards and we can't optimize this code. This next one comes from Lupacillo. Do you think less mainstream Marvel characters like Deathlock the Destroyer and Silver Surfer would be well received if they get the Netflix treatment? Deathlock the Destroyer, yes. Silver Surfer, no, because
That's
you would
Silver
need
Surfer.
a ton of special effects to do Silver Surfer. Like, you can't do it. You can't do it. Like, you couldn't do Silver Surfer if you didn't have special effects, and you'd need really good.
Did you guys know there's an overtime in rank mode?
What?
There's an overtime in rank mode. I'm
I
not
didn't know
shitting
that.
you. It's
It's a
13 to
tie.
1, and we're actually holding it down right now. They only need one more point, and there's an overtime.
I did not know that. I'm gonna go on rank mode later on today with a sniper rifle and see what type of devilment I can get into.
I guess you have to win by a certain point margin.
Mm-hmm.
Because when the timer ran out, we had control, and basically they were down to 1, we were down to 13, and I'm telling you, like, it's at overtime. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Like, I thought we were gonna lose.
Yeah, it happens.
Well, there is a tiebreaker in Splatoon, ladies and gentlemen.
So Samus, this next one is from Lupacillo. I was gonna do the previous one, but it had some. I can't read this entire one because it has some kind of questionable words in it, and I won't say it, but I'll say the parts that I can. Samus Aran was based on Ripley from Alien. Can you think of a more badass female protagonist than Ellen? Get away from her, you bitch, Ripley. Yes, I can. Ellen Ripley was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, she was pretty damn badass. I'm not gonna lie, but I kind of was always a little bit more partial to the main character in to Sarah Connor. Come with me if you want to live, Sarah Connor. Sarah Connor.
I can't believe you just took my answer because
Get to the chopper, Maria. Maria, get to the chopper right now. Get to the chopper.
the thing is what I like about Sarah Connor. The character, she started out as a run of the mill lady, just wants to basically survive her normal life, but then in Terminator 2, she was freaking bloody rock hard, man.
Yeah, Linda Hamilton had like forearm muscle on a woman before forearm muscle was cool. And that's all I'm going to say about that. It's time to move on to the next question, which is Anderson Archilla. I know plenty of people who already have all the original PS3 versions of these remastered games, and yet they still buy these with no hesitation. People are free to do what they want, but how does one explain this mentality? Sheep follow the leader. That's all it is.
They find an excuse to say that PS4 got so many games.
Yeah, and it's shit that you could play on your PS3, so whatever. The next one comes from Lupacillo. To quote Mako from Rising Sun, he spent too much time in America and has acquired many bad habits. When Japanese companies get too close to the American business model, they go downhill. In parentheses, Sony, I'm looking at you.
There's so much truth to that statement. Oh my.
There is, yeah, it is, because the Western business model is shit. I'm sorry, it is. This next one comes from Lupacillo yet again. Have y'all watched the HBO Spawn animated series? What do you think of it?
I missed it.
It is fucking awesome. The Spawn animated series is awesome. It has Keith David, the guy who has perhaps the most awesome voice ever, after James Earl Jones. as the voice of Spawn, and it's awesome. Although I would not advise you watch this show if you're under the age of 16 because it's a Todd McFarlane animated series, so there's sex, violence, sex,
Extreme sex and violence.
sex, violence, sex, extreme violence, more sex, violence, a pedophile molesting a child. It's really sick. I mean, it's some sick stuff, but
I guess that's the reason why I missed it.
I've always liked Spawn. I liked Todd McFarlane when he took over Spider-Man. I like Todd McFarlane, but I'm that type of guy. Okay, do you folks think that with the resurgence of superheroes and comic characters, King Features Syndicate characters could return? Rip Kirby, Phantom, Flash Gordon, and Mandrake the Magician. By the way, Rip Kirby is my favorite comic book character. I only know like 2 of those people. I don't know who Rip Kirby is. I know the Phantom. I know Flash Gordon. I've kind of heard of Mandrake the Magician. And the only reason I know Phantom and Flash Gordon is because like I remember reading like old comic book trades that I would get for collectors and like read those in order to see other stuff that I wanted to get. I'm
in the same boat as you. I only knew about the Phantom and Flash Gordon.
Yeah, and plus that awesome movie with Queen's soundtrack, Flash. You see us. That's like the best. That's one of the best '80s movies ever made.
Yeah,
so
that is wicked.
But yeah, I think it could come back. What are your favorite Sony franchises, past and present? This includes series that are not exclusive anymore, such as Crash and Spyro. I never liked Crash Bandicoot or Spyro. I always thought that they were cop-out franchises that people said that they liked because they didn't have a Nintendo console and couldn't play Donkey Kong or Mario. Personally speaking, my favorite Sony franchises past, like on the PS1, were Power Rapper the Rapper, Ape Escape. Those were actually Sony franchises. On the PS2, I liked Ratchet and Clank and Jak and Daxter. I never gave a shit about God of War or Twisted Metal. PS3, I actually kind of liked the first Little Big Planet, but I recognize it. Like I like the player-generated content, but the actual game itself was not very good. The thing is like I primarily got Sony for the RPGs. Like I really didn't care much for their first-party content. So. You know.
I can't believe it.
Pretty much.
Red. You are basically a mirror version of me when it comes to Sony.
I mean, I like Power Rapper the Rapper because any game, like, okay, here's how awesome Sony was back in the day. Power Rapper the Rapper is a game where it's all just you doing rhythm rap battles against your enemies, and then like each chapter is like a story. Like Power Rapper gets his driver's license. Power Rapper leaves his house. Power Rapper goes shopping for ingredients to make a cake, and then like you eat this cake that you made for Kitty, Power Rapper's girlfriend, but like the cake is bad, so it makes him sick, and you have to have a rap battle with all the people in the line to go to the bathroom so you can work it out. I mean that's how awesome Sony was back in the day. Awesomeness for the shit they are now, and people are like, oh, you hate on Sony. I used to like Sony. It's just they aren't a shadow of what they were back in the day. I'm sorry.
I'm the same way, and yet you had the same people like, oh, Nintendo, oh, I miss how they used to be back then. I'm like, Nintendo's fine. Nintendo's good just as they were back then, but Sony, on the other hand, yeah.
Where's my game where I get to fight people while I get to have a rap battle with people in a line in order to work out a horrific food poisoning in order to make it to the bathroom so that my opponents have to shit on themselves while I go to the bathroom? Where's that game? But no, we can get Nathan Drake with really good facial features. Yeah, that's nice.
You know what? Forgot to have an honorable mention with that that raccoon bug looked up.
Sly Cooper.
Yeah, Sly Cooper.
I really tried. I got the Sly Cooper. I got the Sly Cooper HD collection for free, because it was like a promotion when I got my PS3. Like I got Sly Cooper collection and surprisingly enough the Uncharted collection, as well. And I traded those two in because Sly Cooper just never really it didn't click with me.
Yeah. My favorite Sony franchise was pretty much just yours, except I like Crash, but you didn't. I liked him, and I liked the other stuff you named, and Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, I played that, and I was like,
Okay.
It felt like Legend of Zelda, but with boss battles. Just nothing but boss battles.
Boss battle.
To me, huge boss battles. And I'm like, that's cool, but, I mean, there was nothing else to do except just boss battles. Like, give me a store to go to, some new weapons to buy, something, shit. But I digress. The next question, Phantom 6 Man, are you looking forward to the new Harvest Moon, even though, if I remember correctly, the original devs are working on Story of Seasons? Actually, I am a Harvest Moon nut. I have the last one. I have Story of Seasons. I have both of those games. I love Harvest Moon. I like Fantasy Harvest Moon. I mean, Rune Factory, which is why I like Fantasy Life as well. I'm a huge. I love Harvest Moon. There's nothing I love better than doing a series of repetitive tasks for minor rewards over and over and over again. Because I'm a video gamer and that's what we do.
I've never
Isn't that
played.
right, Dr. Feelgood?
He's in the zone. He's in the zone.
Yeah.
So.
Because that's what we do in video games. We do that in video games all the time. That's the nature of video gaming. Is you do a series of minor things in order for a very minuscule reward over and over again.
I haven't played a single Harvest Moon in my life. Go ahead and shoot me.
Okay, you have to leave right now. No, Harvest Moon is basically one of the most hardcore games ever because, like I said, you play a series of small, minuscule, for minor rewards, and it's just farming. You just farm, and
You
people
know
are
what?
like, "How can you play this game? You just farm."
I kind of find that at least interesting that you like Harvest Moon, but still hated Animal Crossing.
Well, that's why I don't like Animal Crossing, because to me, Animal Crossing is basically Harvest Moon, except instead of farming, you're like running around doing shit in the town. Like it's like I've already experienced that. Why do I want to do it again? You know, like.
Okay, now I see.
You see what I'm saying? Like, and there's a reason I played it. I'm like, this is Harvest Moon, except I can't even farm. I mean, I'm shaking trees for bells and fishing and selling stuff. I mean, it just. The only way to get through Sony's presentations with the all-night mask. I think Nintendo should do more of the Kid Icarus anime and put it on Nicktoons. Yeah, they should do a Fire Emblem anime. They should do a Legend of Zelda anime. They should do a Smash Brothers anime and take those awesome intro cutscenes where Link, like that thing where Link was beating the shit out of Pit. They should have a Smash Brothers anime with that style of animation and have like all those characters just beating the shit out of each other.
You know what? I can see a Fire Emblem series running up to 50 episodes or more, even 100.
56 episodes. 2 seasons, basically.
Yeah, from that or even twice that much.
I could see it. Okay, the next one is from Anderson Archilla. Along with the realistic graphics fixation, is the whole in order for games to be art, we have to stop thinking of them as fun argument also a factor? Most of who say that are part of the corrupted press.
Wait. In order for games to be art, we have to stop thinking them as fun? Who in blue blazes said something like that? I want a piece of his mind and slap the stuff out of him.
I think the people who say that are just folks who don't understand. Like, the thing is the people who say that gaming has to be art are people who are embarrassed to play video games. What people need to understand is that video games at their base are toys. They're a form of entertainment. I mean, there is no difference between me as a 29-year-old man and going and watching Marvel's Avengers: Age of Ultron, and me when I was a younger kid watching Batman Returns. There's no difference. There's no difference. I'm still a young person watching a comic book movie. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's what you're doing.
Forgive me for splitting hairs back then, but when I just heard that comment, when I saw that comment, I'm like, why can't they be both? Because I can still look back at Disney cartoons, Marvel, DC, anywhere that could be fun, and I could still consider them as a freaking art. But why can't games be that way either?
I think, like I said, developers need to go back to the basics and learn how to develop good games.
Heck, even toys like Monopoly, I see them as art as well for the basic what the design.
They need to go back to the basics, and until they go back to the basics, we're going to get shoddily made games. Our next question is from Lupacilla once again. Nintendo knows who to impress. The people at home who are going to buy their products, not the snot-nosed journalists who go to E3. Let Sony and Microsoft cater to those human tapeworms. That wasn't a question, but whatever. The Sega Saturn had games at 60 frames per second. That's not a new thing or a novelty. People fall for buzzwords. You're right. They do, because people are sheep. The Order 1886 is an FMV game. Really? Lupacilla. Yes, it is an FMV game with QuickTime events. Kind of like that game from back in the day for the Laserdisc, where you could where you were like Dirk the Daring and a knight and stuff like that. The next one is another statement from Lupacillo. I'd like an animated Rocket Raccoon series based on the original comic with Walrus, Lila, Uncle Pico, the Loonies, etc. I don't think people will be ready for that. That's too nerdy for most people, but I think they could do a new Rocket Raccoon series and just have it be in space. Just like have it be like Star Fox, but with a raccoon traveling in space with a gun shooting people. It'd be like the new Bucky O'Hare.
Oh yes,
Captain Bucky O'Hare. See, you people aren't old school enough to remember that. Anyone seen the Power Rapper or Ape Escape anime? If not anyone want links? How about Bomberman, Mystical Ninjas, the Fire Emblem OVA, or the Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach? I've seen some of those.
Yeah,
I haven't seen the Power Rapper or Ape Escape animes because Sony doesn't really push their first party games of that era. They just dropped them after they. I don't know.
Somehow, I really have no idea what they could have just do what Nintendo has done with their franchise.
Yeah, but I mean, at least we had some really good stuff like the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, the Super Mario Brothers Power Hour, where you had that was based off of Super Mario Brothers 3 and Super Mario World, and Captain N the Game Masters, and Mega Man and Sonic the Hedgehog. We had some good stuff back in the day. Our next one is Anderson Archilla. Going back to the 6th gen, where the weakest of the consoles, the PS2, which had all the third-party support in games like Shadow of the Colossus, why do people still fall for the "we need more horsepower" excuse? We've already answered this question. Sheep.
I just wanted to say I have no freaking idea of which multiverse these people are in. But just like Redbox, sheep.
No,
wait.
Shinin Games is a German studio. This is from Anderson Archilla. Shinin Games is a German studio, and they pulled off quite a lot with, especially regarding WiiWare's 40 megabyte limit. And of course, certain Japanese studios are technological miracle workers. Does region factor into games quality, East versus West? Yes, it does. Because I mean, I don't like.
Guess it depends on the culture as well.
It's not just East versus West. It's also the age of the developers. The thing is like Nintendo is old school developers, okay? Like these people have their roots in arcade machines and then home consoles from like 30 years ago. Like they had to learn, they had to work with limitations. So they had to be damn good with a very small amount of resources. But here's the thing, when someone can be damn good with a small amount of resources, then if you give them a lot of resources, they can be great, like excellent, like master level. But when you're mediocre with a limited amount of resources, giving you more resources isn't going to make you any better when your basic skills suck.
Yeah.
And that's where East versus West comes in, because a lot of Western developers nowadays do not have basic development skills.
Isn't it something that I've been saying about the whole that question about the x86 architecture?
Yeah, I mean, that's basically part of the x86 architecture argument, so we've already kind of answered part of that question.
Well,
this next one is from Lupasillo. It's a phrase, it's a statement. E3 used to be part of the CES Consumer Electronics Show. Space World was the Nintendo show in Japan. You're right, but like the Consumer Electronics Show had a portion where Nintendo would bring stuff from Space World to CES, which then became part of E3. So yeah. So I guess you're more right in terms of terminology, but I'm right in terms of content.
Everybody wins.
Everybody wins. I find it odd that Sony fans recognize the sales of the PS4 and how well it's doing, but ignore the failure of the Vita. King Grimbachi.
Legacy platform, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a legacy platform, even though, which means they aren't putting any more money into that console, into that handheld.
While the Vita is set to succeed.
Yeah, that was Colin Moriarty or Greg Miller. It was one of the two.
I think it was
they wrote that article. They wrote that article and the Vita came out. I was like, why would you
Why would
whatever?
you say that?
So this next one is for Anderson Archella. Anyone feel this E3 might be similar to last year's? To me, all of these double standards have left Sony with next to nothing, Microsoft with something to nothing, and Nintendo with a lot to show. Will anyone finally take notice if that's the case? I think this year is going to be a repeat of last year. Microsoft's going to try and duplicate what Nintendo did last year, fail miserably because they don't have the talent or creativity to do it. And Sony's going to rest on their laurels and show a lot of third-party multiplats and promises of games that that may or may not come out on schedule next year.
Oh, and don't forget fillers about statistics and all that.
Yeah, they're going to tell us how many times someone caressed the back button on the PS4 controller this time.
And you know what? Speaking about the whole fillers thing. Before Nintendo made such digital event, which is God bless. But I was actually also enraged by what Nintendo has done before that with all the filler thing as well. So having the digital event was a freaking breath of fresh air.
The thing is, people forget that Nintendo has had shitty E3s too. Like Wii Music, where those guys got up there and were like trying to jam out with Wiimote. I was like, come on, man. Come on.
You know what? I gotta say, wait. I gotta say about that one. It would have been, it was a fail-tacular experience. But in that particular show, I would actually give Nintendo a lot more prop if they didn't had that person doing the drums. He was
the mohawk. I know. He did have a mohawk. He's trying to look extreme, and he's got Wiimotes in his hands. I'm like, come on, man. I'm so extreme. I've got a mohawk and 2 Wiimotes in my hand. Okay, this last question.
Doctor, he's got.
Okay, the last 2 questions, and then we're gonna do our sign-offs and then close this up. And actually, this isn't our longest podcast, believe it or not. This next one is for Anderson Archilla. Chibi Robo is getting a new game and its own amiibo. Despite not getting much fanfare from gamers, this is yet another obscure Nintendo IP that's getting some of the spotlight. Doesn't Nintendo deserve some props for that? Hey, man.
No.
You can speak for yourself. I have Chibi Robo on the GameCube. I have Chibi Robo on the 3DS and the DS. I love Chibi Robo, and I'm going to get this next one because I got to have that amiibo, and that game looks pretty damn sweet, too.
I say no, Nintendo does not get props for this one, especially Chibi Robo, because it's just another freaking platform, and we already have those enough on the Wii U. By the way, that's sarcasm.
Yeah, well, Chibi Robo's on the 3DS, and look, Chibi Robo is one of those games that I love. I love the one on the GameCube. It's great. You're this little cute little robot trying to save this family. It's one of those quirky games that only could come out in Japan that somehow made it over here. Kind of like Dreamcast had Seaman. and Mr.
Oh,
Mosquito and Mr. Mosquito. Which is like the game for perverts because you can like suck this lady's blood like anywhere, and we'll talk after the thing.
No.
This last question is from Lupacillo. Sony used to be competent because they were competing against Sega and Nintendo, who were actual game companies, not software companies that got into the market out of vanity. It's not even a question; it's just a nice statement.
You know,
And
I will say this: at the time that the whole the ESRB rating was being created, at that time Sony said that they're not a gaming company. Which it kind of falls true that we're seeing it even today, and I think just because of that particular statement, we're seeing why they're kind of having a hard trouble.
I guess so. Sony has always been a little bit slippery with how they their terminologies, but that's the end of this. We are at the end of this podcast. We got through all the questions. We got through a huge bevy of topics. So now it's time to do our outros and plug our future content, and then call it a day. We will begin with the one who is most preoccupied, Dr. Feelgood. Dr. Feelgood, please give us your sign-off.
Hey, what's up, guys? Glad to be here. I will admit I've been playing Splatoon almost the entire time,
I know.
and I'm doing rank mode. I'm almost at level B. So, as I always say, keep it gaming. I will be having some content coming up pretty soon. I'm not sure how soon because I'm busy right now, but you may see it sometime soon. Just know sometime could be like a month or two.
KH Anime G, go.
HNMAG here. Remember, keep calm, game on, and please, 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 for the love of God in heaven, if you believe in God, play Splatoon. I know I don't have it yet.
Wow, I gotta give you credit for that one. He said, if you believe in God, play Splatoon. He went religious with it. Damn.
That's right. Be a little soldier for God and play Splatoon.
That's like going to work and talking about politics. You just don't do it.
Get christened in the ink. Get baptized in the ink. Submerge yourself in the ink.
That's a good one.
Okay, Triple M, go.
I gotta get it next week. I gotta get it now.
You know, actually, I wish that RJ was still here because we could have talked about Splatoon a bit more and have a bit of a comparison of what Nintendo's doing wrong and what could be done right. But I guess that's another time. So this is one of those podcasts that I'm actually happy or satisfied that we've gone through most, if not all, topics that happened for the past week. So, as I am Triple M, the lone wolf and fondness for games that pops out my artworks, and I will see you next time.
Okay, it's on to me. This is Mr. Red Fox. As you can see, I enjoy my BS Busters. Stay tuned for next week at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. On January 13th, we will kick off the pre-E3 game show. The pre-game E3 game show, where we will be just, hanging out, talking. It's not going to be a very typical BS Busters. We might bring up topics, but it's going to be very loose. Someone else will be dealing with the main topic, one of our panelists who will be attending, hopefully, knock on wood. So I myself have nothing. I don't know what next week's pre-E3 game topic, pre-game show topic is going to be for BS Busters. I have no idea.
Since we haven't spoken about that mini direct with with mini Trin in there, that could be a topic for.
That could be. We don't know. So look forward to that next week, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, p.m. Also, I will be doing a live reaction to each of the conferences live as I watch them on Google Hangouts. so you can see me fall asleep and
And
pass
I'll
out from boredom
and
live
I'll
for two of them.
and
And
I'll probably back up Red here for keeping him awake.
you know, I'll try. You know, I would like to be, because I'm taking that week off because business reasons, and also, I mean, E3 is like Christmas in June for us gamers. So you know, you got to kind of get the right mindset.
Christmas is summer.
It's Christmas. It's like, I would say Christmas in July, but we already have Christmas in July. So yeah, looking forward to that. Let's see what else. That's it. I also have some other content dropping this week. Plus one or two new things that I'm going to run by you guys. If you like it, I'll keep it up. If you don't, it'll be a one-off. So with all that being said, I bid you guys adieu, and don't let people bullshit you in gaming. If you like something, go with it. If you like it, play it. If you don't like it, don't play it.
Yes.